8 days. 8 days until the Eagles go to camp, and we tee it up for the 2026 football season. It's kind of crazy. We're here. We are here now, folks. There's no getting around it. We are here. Teams this past couple days, 49ers and the Seahawks are in camp, rookies. And the veterans come 3 days after. So those two teams are in camp. Tomorrow, Bills, Texans, Dolphins, and Patriots, they report to training camp. So, I mean, like I said, we're here. The start of the NFL season. Now, from years past to today, getting yourself ready, I think also includes September. The teams that you see in September that get out to strong starts traditionally aren't the real teams in the NFL that are going to contend for the Super Bowl. And it now is extended into that first month of the season. You don't really see a football team until August. Or I should say October is when you should start to see what your football team is going to look like. Is October when you start seeing this. By the way, a ton of stories have started coming out now about Nick Sirianni. So he's going to be a big topic today. World Cup just finished up, thank God. Enjoy your day, too. Thank you so much. We're always starting it off, and you remind me. Super Chats go to the top. Please hit the like button. Hey, look. There is no doubt we put a great party on. We did. We put a great party on. World Cup was great. End of the day, there's no momentum for U.S. men's soccer. We're in the same place we were 70 years ago. Hey, we'll see what we look like in No, dude. Hey, I'm done with that conversation. You got to go out and prove it to me that you're going to be a contender in the world. Oh, and by the way, one thing is for sure. Unlike the NFL, boy, did FIFA want Argentina to win the second straight World Cup. I mean, they did everything in their power to set that team up and Messi to win 2 in a row. And Spain ended up getting it done. I was rooting for Spain because you could see how rigged the thing was. 400 gems. Not sure what that is, but thank you for anything. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you, man. Guys, do me a favor. Yeah, you know what, Steve? I did everything in my power to try to watch that thing. I really did. I did everything in my power to try to embrace the thing. I can't embrace soccer. No disrespect to the people who teach it and a lot of kids who play it. But for me, I just can't embrace that sport. When flopping is part of the strategy, I don't get it. I don't want to be like involved in anything like that where flopping is part of the strategy. Look, I get holding in our sport part of the strategy. But man, the flopping and the offside stuff, it's just too much for me. I'm like, yeah, thank God for college football and thank God for the NFL coming up here in the next couple weeks. Because I can't. And I'll tell you what, $11,000 for those World Cup tickets, bullshit. I'd rather watch a Penn State, Ohio State football game any day. Give me a Penn State, Ohio State game. I'll take that thing. Okay. Hey, M. Reyes, congratulations. I'm glad it's okay for you. Me, I think the thing's stupid. And I'm so glad football's right here next couple weeks. As I said, hit the like button. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Gary Cobb. By the way, tomorrow, Mark Trestman will be on the program. 4:30 Eastern time. We have Coach Trestman. The things that Sean Mannion is going to have to do in building an offense for Jalen Hurts, not having coached that system before. We are going to talk to a guy who's considered one of the best minds in all of football, and that is Mark Trestman. All the things that he's going to be facing this upcoming season. We'll talk to Coach Trestman, and we'll get his thoughts. All right, a lot of stories out there. Hey, and first and foremost, I want to say this. I was listening to Birds 365 today, and I heard John and Jeff Kerr, who do a great job at covering the Eagles. They're in the pit every day. And by the way, that's not an easy job. Being a beat reporter, covering a specific team is not an easy job. You know why? Because they compromise you a lot. These organizations and these pro teams compromise you. I've done that before. And I'm who I am for a reason. I didn't want to cover a respected team because I didn't want to get into the back pocket. By the way, this is clearly one of the reasons why I got thrown off WDAE in Tampa, was because I couldn't do it anymore. And I refused to be a shill for the Bucs. And so when I said something inappropriate on the air, they came off the top rope on me. They completely came off the top rope because they had to get me out of there. I'm doing 10 shares. I'm making a killing. And I'm saying what I want. Because I was telling everyone, Mark Dominic, the general manager of the football team, is trying to tell me he's got a good team, and he's 25-54 as a GM. How are you telling me you're a good GM when you're 25-54? And you're trying to tell me you got a B-plus roster? I wasn't buying that. I called most of the players on that roster lollipops. These guys were soft. Got knocked off the point of attack. They were terrible. They didn't like it. And I kept saying they have to fire Raheem Morris. Well, Bucs didn't like that. So when I hear John and Jeff saying stories are going to start trickling out about Nick Sirianni because there's this certain thing called an embargo on these stories, man, basically you work for the team when that happens. We don't want you to put this story out so that we can control the narrative. You basically are working for him. And I'm not throwing shade, and I get how people put food on the table for folks. I get all that, and I respect it. I do. For me, no way. That's not my lane. I don't go down that lane. I see something, I say it. I feel something, I say it. You're not going to dictate to me when I'm going to say something. My shows aren't done like that. I'll say this on Thursday. I'll say this on Friday. Dude, I wake up in the morning and I go, let's go to work. Let's go to work. Like all of you who come in here. And by the way, one of the great things about our show is you. You don't agree with me, but I don't shut you down. I may say shit to you, but I've never blocked you. Haven't you come to a realization? This is the only place that you can have a conversation that you can disagree with someone. It's the only place. We agree to disagree. That's what makes sports talk. That's my type of sports talk. So we're going to start it off with Nick. And all these stories are now, by the way, Reuben Frank, this guy is the biggest shill I've ever seen for Nick Sirianni. Holy cow. I mean, dude, it's embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself. You are utterly embarrassing yourself the way you cover that team. I mean, embarrassing. So, let me ask this question here. With all these stories coming out, and Nick Sirianni is a front and center story. A lot of stories are starting to creep out now. I guess they had one of their pool conversations. And I guess now the Eagles are telling people when to release their stories, which is wild. Again, I'll get off that topic. And we'll get into ours here. But okay. So Nick is really front and center. So I came up with a couple Nick Sirianni topics today. And I'm going to ask all of you simple questions that many of you can't answer. One of the cool things that I've come to understand about many of you Eagle fans, when I ask basic questions, the more basic I ask, the harder it is for you to wrap your arms around it. Because what you want me to ask you is cream-colored and eagle-colored questions to make you feel better. We're going to ask questions that are real here. Okay? So, let's start with Nick Sirianni's offseason so far. In 2026. And actually, let's do one thing and start it from his last ball game at the beginning of 2026. How do you think Nick handled the 49er game and the aftermath of the 49er game? Then what we're going to do is we're going to chronologically go down to where we are today on July 20th. All the things that he has done this offseason, and you tell me how you think he's done. So let's start it off with his last game in 26. How do you think he handled the 49er game? How do you think he handled that football game? Again, how do you think Nick Sirianni handled the 49er game? A-. Terrible. It got worse. No leadership. In the final play, no solutions after. Bad. Okay? Hey, Art, watch this. RC, how do you think Nick Sirianni handled the 49er game? Worse. It was a complete shit show. Okay? Horrible. No answers. F. Crap. Okay? Thanks, Marsh. Appreciate you, brother. Nobody here knows y'all ain't in the belt. How do you think, Steve, you think he handled the 49er game? How did he handle it, in your opinion? I'm asking you. He trusted his quarterback to make a play, okay? Steve, you saw it yourself. He almost fought AJ on the sideline, okay? We're going to get to all this on how well his offseason's gone, starting with that game. Seals, I can't say anything bad about my coach, but I asked these same questions to see if we really go back to the beginning of all of this. We're going to go back to that game and move forward. And how do you think this offseason's been for him? And then you tell me, okay, Prince? And we'll all agree to disagree, or maybe we will agree. Hit the like button. So I would say this. Would we not agree? That was easily one of Nick Sirianni's worst coached football games since he has been the head coach of the Eagles. Would we not say that? You could make the argument that that was one of the worst football games that he was in charge of. So let's look back in 5 years and generals screaming and yelling at fans. Also, players like Reddick, AJ, Devontae. Hurts got to be grown up in the room. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate you, bro. So again, would we not agree that was one of the worst coach games? Reyes says it's A-. I say it's one of the worst coach football games in Sirianni's coaching career. Would that be a fair statement? Would it be? Rasputin. His solution to hiring an inexperienced play call. We're going to get to all this, Rasputin. Okay? I want to start it off in chronological order. Let's start from the Niner game. He sets himself up to fail with that shit talk in the tunnel after Buffalo. He fumbled. Okay, let's do this. The 49er game, the worst coach playoff game, at least, since he's been the head coach of the Eagles. Is that fair? Okay. What was the next move? The next move was what? Demoting Kevin Patullo. Remember, Kevin Patullo was never fired as a coach of the Eagles. He was never fired. He was demoted. Nick demoted him. And there was talk of giving him another role. Remember? Then he got the Dolphin job. So he didn't fire Kevin Patullo. He demoted him. Which leads me to believe he did not blame Kevin Patullo for the offense a year ago. He was forced to make that move. Okay? He was never fired. Should have been canned immediately. Should never have been hired in the first place. So that's an F for Nick as a hire. He hired the guy. He fired the guy inside of a year. Fired his offensive coordinator. So the hire was an F. Correct? The hiring of Kevin Patullo was an out-and-out F. Okay. What's next? So, the 49er game was a train wreck. The hiring of Kevin Patullo, if we listen to John McMullen, who says that Nick makes all the hires, that was a train wreck hire. Because it ended with an F. Him firing him. Okay. Next. How do you think he handled Jeff Stoutland? By pushing him out the door and hiring a lesser qualified coach in Chris Cooper. Okay? How do you think he handled letting Stoutland go? Instead of begging his ass to stay. By the way, I wrote this down. Nick Sirianni this year, one of the biggest things he's going to answer for in a positive way or in a negative way. If that fucking offensive line doesn't get back to normal, Nick Sirianni is going to be crucified for firing Jeff Stoutland and hiring Chris Cooper. Chris Cooper's maybe got more pressure on him than Sean Mannion. Because if that O-line doesn't produce and perform, that guy is going to get crucified, and Nick made the hire. That's a Nick hire. So, the pushing Jeff Stoutland out the door, how do you think he handled that? Zander, you might want to sleep in today. No, he's got no. Hey, by the way, Marsh, I'm pointing out Nick Sirianni's offseason. I'm pointing out his offseason here. So the 49er game was a train wreck. His worst playoff game as a head coach. Kevin Petullo's hire was an F. He made that call. The pushing of Stoutland out for Chris Cooper, who Minnesota didn't want. Get this. You hired a guy who Minnesota didn't want and didn't re-up his contract. They let him walk. How do you think Nick handled that? By the way, Chris Cooper, let me get a ranking here. I'm going to show you something. Rank the top offensive line coaches. Line coaches in the NFL in 2026. It's too bad because they still got Stoutland in his name. Bill Callahan, Browns. Adam Stanovich for the Packers. Andy Heck with the Chiefs. Those guys are all considered top shelf guys because Stoutland's not in right now as the offensive line coach in any NFL team. It's funny. I don't see anywhere Chris Cooper's name is. Who is that guy? I've actually never fucking heard of him. I've never heard of him. That doesn't mean he's not going to be good. We shall see. So here's Nick's offseason so far. 49er game, the Kevin Petullo demoting and then firing. Or no, firing, he leaves, demoting. That whole thing was a train wreck with Petullo. And then landing on Chris. Hey, get this. I can guarantee you if I saw you land on Bill Callahan, I'd be like, wow, Bill Callahan and Jeff Stoutland. Okay. Both those guys are considered top of their game. But you hired a guy who's like nowhere near to be seen. So your O-line coach, who you've got to rely on this year, everybody keeps saying, hey, get this. Everybody keeps saying this to me. Says the health of the football team this year is going to rely on the O-line. So what do? You hire a guy who was fired in Minnesota to take over that crew? Wow. Boy, has Nick put himself out there. So what does Nick do to replace Stoutland? He hires a guy that was fired in Minnesota. I mean, okay. I'm going down Sirianni's offseason here. They turn around after 17 interviews and they land on Sean Mannion. And here's the interesting thing about Sean Mannion on July 20th. I don't know. Who is he? I don't know. Do you think he's going to be good? I don't know. Well, what does his work look like? I don't know. Well, how do you know what he's going to do? Because they say he knows Sean McVay. Okay. Well, Sean McVay has different quarterbacks than what Hurts is. Yeah. So how in God's name, seriously, on July 20th, Nick hired a guy who no one knows anything about. Is that right? Okay. So as I heard a list of 6 coaches on the hot seat: Sirianni, Quinn, Taylor, Bowles, O'Connell, and Shanahan. I'd put Steichen on that list too. Hey, so that's move 4. That's move 4, right? The 49er game had no answers. It was his worst coach football game. Kevin Petullo was replaced, which means that hire was a horrible hire. The Stoutland being pushed out and the hiring of Sean Mannion, who nobody knows anything about. Again, you see this? This has got nothing to do with me. I'm talking about Nick's offseason. Hey, guys, have I said one thing that's a lie about Nick Sirianni's offseason? It was his worst coach playoff game. The hiring of Kevin Petullo was a failure. They pushed Stoutland out, and Sean Mannion's a nobody. And nobody knows anything about him. What did I say wasn't true? Like, what did I say that's not true? Name me one thing. Nobody knows who Sean Mannion is. They pushed Stoutland out. The Petullo hire was a failure. And the Niner game was a train wreck. That's his offseason so far. Mannion was a dude who nobody ever heard of. NFL created a coach. Overnight, shit is wild. Sills, you are fucking spot on. Perzak Berman, Nick Sirianni explored Chat GPT this offseason and keeping the message fresh entering year 6. Well, okay, I'm going to have to get with the Gen Z guys. Chat, hold on. I don't know this, so help me out here. Chat GPT. I'm assuming that this is AI. Chat GPT is an advanced AI chat boot and virtual assistant developed by OpenAI. That's Elon. It uses large language models to process natural human language, allowing you to converse with it, ask questions, write code, analyze filters, and generate various types of content. So wait a minute. Nick Sirianni's asking how I could be a better coach to AI? No. Hold on. Hey, wait. Let me get my phone. Hey, man. How can I handle AJ Brown better? Hey, man. How can I handle 4 verts better? Oh, shit. Let me have a chat with myself. I'm going to have a fireside chat. Hey, how can I beat the Commanders in the opener in week 1? Help me out here. What do I have to do? It's almost like he carries his brain in his hand. Hey, Spinbad. It's almost like he carries his brain in his hand. Hey, how do you think I should handle the firing of Jeff Stoutland? OpenAI, what do you think? Go and hire a stiff named Chris Cooper. Okay. Chris, you're my guy. Hey, how should I handle A.J. Brown? Let him go. Don't tell him to shut the fuck up and sit down. Fucking acting. This is crazy great. Hey, how should I handle M. Reyes? No. I can't. I can't block him. I'm not doing that. This guy's got his brain in his hand. Hey, I've never seen an NFL coach have his brain in his hand. Hey, how do you think I should coach that thing there? 4th and 11. Throw 4 verts. I bet you AI even contradicted the play. Nick, don't go 4 verts. Jesus Christ. What they did with Stoutland was classless and stupid. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate it. I got to read that again. Oh, this is great. Listen, I got the whole description of it. ChatGPT. Advanced AI chat boot and virtual assistant developed by OpenAI. It uses large language models to process natural human language, allowing you to converse with it, ask questions, write code. Wow. Conversational AI. Here's one of the features. You can ask it to explain complex topics, draft emails, write essays, or brainstorm game plans. Oh my God. This guy's going to write a game plan over OpenAI. Are you fucking crazy? Voice and image. It supports real-time voice conversations with virtual interactions, making it highly versatile for hands-free use or visual problem solving. ChatGPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It is powered by sophisticated neural networks that were trained on massive data sets or text and codes from the internet. Instead of searching the web like a traditional search engine, it predicts the next best words to create natural. Shit, you just should have ChatGPT as your next head football coach or your next OC. Man, is that informative? Holy shit, what a tool. Hey, Marsh, I wonder if Doug used ChatGPT on Philly. Hey, ChatGPT, what do you think of running Philly? It's the stupidest play in your playbook. Don't run it. I just won a Super Bowl with it. Oh, okay. So your coach don't have a mind of his own? What they did with Jeff Stoutland was classless and stupid. Hey, OpenAI. Jesus Christ, please, whatever you do not fire Nick. He's a gold mine. So let's add one more offseason move to the greatness of Nick Sirianni. Yo, Big Sills, is it possible to bring Stout back? No. Why would he want to come back? How do you think he handled A.J. Brown? So here's Nick Sirianni's offseason. The 49er train wreck. Kevin Patullo was demoted. It was a train wreck hire. They pushed Stoutland out. They hired a nobody in Sean Mannion. Next one. How do you think he handled AJ? Yeah, well, I don't have people thinking for me, dude. or things. But he's going to think for me. You imagine Andy Reid. What do you think of this play? You see Sean McVay going, yeah, I'm not running that. I didn't know because I don't have things think for me. I think that shit's stupid. Hey, dude, AI's got a place. But calling your game plans and making your game plans around them? Really? The Philadelphia Eagles have gone full analytics now. I wonder if that's a Julian Lennon thing or Julian Lurie thing, excuse me. Is that a Julian Lurie thing? Where you got like, hey, let's use OpenAI for our game plans. Why the fuck do you need an OC? Okay? Here. Once again. Watch this. He says this is fake news. It was the worst game coached of Nick Sirianni's playoff career. That's true. The hiring of Kevin Petula, all of you have said, was an F and it was a train wreck. That's true. Jeff Stoutland was pushed out the door. That's true. Sean Mannion is a nobody. Nobody knows who he is, good or bad. Nobody knows who he is. That's true. Now I'm asking you, how do you think he handled A.J. Brown's situation? How do you think he handled A.J.? This great coach of yours. Okay? What up, Sills? How much weight do you think a coach being under a solid head coach holds? Do you not think Mannion being under LaFleur and McVay means he may be better than KP ever will be? No. Why would I think that? Every one of those coaches that you named are their own play callers. Nick's biggest problem as the head coach of the Eagles is that he's not a head coach of a play calling head coach. Either that or he hides behind these guys he hires and he is the play caller. I can't figure it out sometimes. I mean, I can't figure it out. Again, that's got nothing to do with how he's done this offseason. That's got nothing to do with it. Who was Kevin Petullo? Exactly. I said he was unqualified last year. You loved it, RC. Oh, maybe what now? Let me guess. You changed your narrative? I said he was a nobody last year. I never liked the hire. He was unqualified. Go back and Google it. I said it. Kevin Petullo was not qualified to be the offensive coordinator. And Sean Mannion is not qualified to be the offensive coordinator. They got rid of AJ. What more can you do? I'm asking you, how do you think he handled it? And ask yourself this. So you got rid of a player that made you lesser. So you got rid of a player that made your talent on your offense less. Sills, I would have liked Bill Benbaugh, the OU O-line coach. Chris Cooper is a mystery, but the recommendation from Fangio shouldn't be overlooked. Listen, man, Vic Fangio is going to talk highly of anybody in that building right now. How could he talk highly of a guy who was fired in Minnesota? Man, does that mean that Jordan Mailata and him saying this about Sean Mannion's true? Dude. Okay. So, Jimbo, You believe that at the end of the year, Chris Cooper's going to turn this O-line around. Here, okay, I'll remember this on July 20th. Some of you in here believe that Chris Cooper is going to turn the offensive line around. Because that will be one of the, okay. All right. RC believes that Chris Cooper's a better coach and has better answers than Jeff Stoutland. I remember that one. Eric Bieniemy coached under Andy Reid for how long? How did that pan out? Yeah, he was never offered a job except for the UCLA job. Still, the AJ situation started since 2024. They were lucky AJ was still focused. Otherwise, we wouldn't win the Super Bowl. But you remove the ball from the quarterback, receivers fucked. Here's the thing. Again, this has been Nick Sirianni's offseason. How do you think it's gone? I'll talk to Zander about this, and all of this played out. How do you think he handled the Niner game? How do you think he handled the hiring of Kevin Patullo? The Stoutland scenario, Sean Mannion hiring, and A.J. Brown. What would you give Nick Sirianni's offseason so far? Starting with that Niner game. What would you say his offseason's been? Did it answer? How about this? I got one for you. Remember that thing I tell Zander all the time? This guy's got no answers. Here. How about this one? You ready? Remember I say this all the time about Nick not having answers? Did Nick answer the OC question? Yes or no? Has Nick created more questions or answers on the offensive coordinator hire? Has he created more answers or questions? What do you think, guys? More answers or questions on Nick Sirianni hiring Sean Mannion? More questions. More questions. Okay? Would we agree? Okay? Okay, what's the answer, RC? What question did he answer about the offense? What was the question that he answered? Hiring Sean Mannion. I'm curious. What was the answer? I'll wait. I want to know because I'm lost here. Nick Sirianni hiring Sean Mannion answered the question of OC from last year's F. How? I didn't ask you that. How did he answer the question from a failed coordinator hire a year ago? And drafting and signing, that's not his job. That's Howie's job. Now you're conflating. That's Roseman's job. He didn't sign players, and he didn't draft players. What question did he answer with the hiring of this coordinator? Or did he create more questions? What did he answer? Nothing. Nothing. So, he created more questions. Let's ask this question, okay? Did he create more questions or answers in the hiring of Chris Cooper? Then answer the question, guy. More questions, okay? More questions. Seals, you could blame Nick for the 49er demise, but the rest of the offseason, decisions were made by Howie. Oh, whoa, no. John McMullen says that offensive coordinator and that O-line coach was hired by Nick. Those were his words. Nick hired him, and Nick hired Mannion. Those are Nick hires, according to John. Okay? Getting rid of A.J. Brown. Do you think that creates more questions or answers for your offense in 26? What do you think? Did it create more questions or answers on how your offense is going to perform? Without A.J. Brown. More questions. So you've created more questions with your OC hire, with your O-line coach hire, and with AJ not being on the offense. Okay? How do you think Nick's offseason has gone? As an NFL head coach, how do you think he's done trying to answer these questions that I always ask? Every time I get into a conversation with Zander, he always asks me why I don't like Nick, because Nick doesn't have answers. Has he answered the questions of last year's problems in 2025? Did he answer them? Sills, I just seen what you're talking about. Nick using AI makes him look fake in his words, not from his heart. What a scammer. So you're going to start writing team speeches off of this fucking chat thing? Jesus, criminy guy. Talk to your players from your heart. Tell the guys how you really feel. I'd rather have the guy screaming at the fans in Buffalo than screaming into a fucking mic, getting answers from a chat guy. Seals, answering questions makes you accountable. Commenting on them makes you seem involved. Nick is not involved. They conveniently doesn't hire the department heads at the concierge heads doesn't hire the department heads at a hotel. Yes. Cooper's going to be all right? Hey, Pickin, that's a theory. The problem was not having a passing attack in 24. Permanently injured our offensive line. So Rasputin, how you address that was hiring a coach that got fired in Minnesota and a first-year play caller. That's how you addressed it? Is that how you addressed it? Sills, exactly. How do you expect the players to believe in your philosophy when it didn't come from you? This is crazy to me. Yeah. And so, like, when they get a game plan, think about this. So when the players get a game plan, Nick's going to be using AI to come up with situational play calling. Dude, AI's not going to give you situational play calling. They're going to go by the percentages. You think Vic Fangio would ever go to AI to tell him how to run a defensive game plan? That's insane. That's completely insane. Howie will revamp the O-line, giving Cooper every opportunity to succeed. Well, that's the next 3 years, my friend. You ain't replaced any. You don't have anybody on that roster right now that's going to take over for any of the guys on the football team. Markel Bell, maybe. We'll see. But you don't have anybody on that roster that's taking over for Landon. You don't have anybody for Lane. You don't have anybody in that lineup that's going to take over for those two O-linemen. Nobody. AI would probe be an improvement over the play calling from last year. Okay. Hey, maybe. Dontavian Wicks' reaction to the Eagles trading for him extended him. It just showed me the value and love that Philly has for me. I wanted to come out and show what I'm worth. Cool. Good. Hey, it's always awesome when a place wants you. And that's a cool thing. That's a cool response. I'm in. That guy may have a good year this year in Philly. They handled the Stoutland situation all wrong, but Nick isn't qualified to run the team. Not his fault. How he likes to control. Hey, I pointed out 4 things. The 49er game, his worst coach football game, the hiring of Kevin Patullo, demoted and then left for the Dolphins, pushing Stoutland out, the hiring of nobody and Sean Mannion, and the handling of A.J. Brown. How do you think his offseason has gone? How do you think Nick... Hey, by the way, where's Reyes? Reyes says this is an A. Reyes says this is an A offseason. The 49er game that he coached, the demoting of Kevin Patullo, the handling of Stoutland, the hiring of Mannion, and the handling of AJ was an A offseason for Nick. Wait until they start franchising players like this, tear down the stadiums, and you watch some games on your VR implant. That's like 20 years away. His offseason gets a C+ for now. It has the potential to be an A if the Eagles coaches perform to their potential. They don't have a potential. How do you know what their potential is? You're giving them a self-potential grade or ceiling? Hey, when Jalen Hurts or players come out of college, they break ceilings all the time. Hurts has broke a ceiling. There's no doubt. Hurts was never supposed to be and have the resume he was supposed to have. He broke a ceiling. He totally did. Prescott broke a ceiling. Romo clearly did. Romo wasn't even drafted. And look what you got out of the guy. Was Tony Romo ever going to win you a Super Bowl? Maybe. Kurt Warner broke ceilings. Some guys do it. Warner was fired 4 times. He was cut. He played in the Arena League. He played in the World League. Guys break ceilings all the time. and what people's narratives are of them. Their coaches were bottom feeders and new guys. The marquee coaches didn't want to come to Philly. They didn't want to coach. They didn't want to coach with Nick and Jalen because your playbook is limited. Dude, here, let me show you this. Okay. Okay, so Mike McDaniel. How much of the playbook do you think Mike McDaniel would be able to use in Philly and putting a game plan together? How much would he be able to use of it? 50%? They're not going to go across the middle, and they're not going to do screen games. They're only going to throw to the numbers, and they're going to run the ball. That's it. That's why he didn't want to come here. When you're with Justin Herbert, screens, middle of the field, numbers, checkdowns. The whole playbook's open. The entire playbook is open. Run left, run right. Push in the order. And if you get into a pinch, 4 verts, baby. Ain't that right? Big Z. Oh, boy. He'll be with us here at the bottom of the hour. Hey, no, that is Nick Sirianni's offense. But hang on here, Marsh. I think you're looking at this maybe a little bit sideways here. That's all he thinks Hurts can do. That's what the coach thinks of the quarterback. And supposedly this year it's going to be different. Let me tell you something. What I don't get is you hire a first-year coordinator and then you hire an offensive coach on the O-line that was fired in Minnesota. And you're telling me you want to turn the O-line around. You turn the O-line around by hiring 2 people that were not coveted guys in the league at their respected positions of OC and O-line coach. And you're going to make that right? And they're going to be better. I'm sorry, Sills. I think you're wrong. I think they will have screens and will be throwing across the middle. Jay, then why haven't they been? I think you're wrong, unfortunately, on this one. How can I be wrong when they've never done it? Jay, how am I wrong when they've never, ever, ever done it? How could I possibly be wrong? And you're just going to assume after 7 years, they're going to start something new up? Jay, you have no proof that they believe he can do it. You have no proof. You have no proof. Where's your proof? If Nick thinks that's all Hurts can do, then he's even more of a dumbass. Hey, he's won 2 NFC titles, Marsh, and a Super Bowl. Can't dismiss that. Look at this one. Other than getting him weapons and a first-round pick, getting him weapons. Who are you calling a weapon? Hollywood Jackson? Dontavian Wicks? Elijah Moore? And a rookie will be lucky to break 500 yards? He thinks that's an upgrade from A.J. Brown. Man. Tell you what, it's going to be a great year. And I keep hearing people tell me that Nick's had this offseason. What has been special about Nick's offseason? What has he done to answer the questions that I keep asking. I've got 4 simple questions. 4 simple questions. I'll ask Zander these 2 at the bottom. 4 simple questions. Did you answer the OC problem? And if you answer it this way, I don't know. Well, then it's year 2. Do you think Chris Cooper is going to be an upgrade over Jeff Stoutland? I don't know. Well, you've created more questions. Do you think your offense is going to be better without A.J. Brown? Well, you created more questions. These are very simple. I keep asking you about Nick with one thing. Is he a problem solver? Do you believe he solved the problem? Or created more questions? And now he's talking into a microphone of AI. Look, I get technology's here, and it's going to be something that's going to be used big time. But I don't think you can get away from situational play calling, in-game feel, and Philly. Philly would never be called by AI. Okay? Is Cooper, who already has been called a terrible teacher by Evan Ingram, able to teach an entirely new blocking scheme over a summer? Actually, when did they hire him? Let's take a look at that when they hired Sean Mannion. When did the Eagles hire Sean Mannion? They hired him January 29th. Let's see here. How many days ago was January 29th? So 172 days ago, they hired Sean Mannion. And between OTAs and minicamp, Sean Mannion has installed a new blocking scheme for the Eagles. Nobody in here believes that, right? Nobody believes that. Sills, Hollywood Jackson Brown hasn't been a weapon since 21. He was in Baltimore for that. Wicks didn't get the ball in a wide open offense in Green Bay. Yeah, did you see what Brian Gutekunst said? There was no room for him in Green Bay. Lemon is unproven. Yeah, I mean, hey, he may be spectacular. I don't know. Let's see here. What fucking weapons are they talking about? We got a nice topic on that, too, coming up. Sills, my take is that this team will start slow. The NFC East is more competitive. Nick already said Manning will not have autonomy. Nick will avert back to 24. Will the line hold up in Barkley? Dude, like I said, I keep asking you guys for one thing. And I keep asking you to answer questions. Every single day, I ask the simplest questions. And you guys somehow turn this thing on me for asking the simplest questions. Okay? And that is this. RC3 Has he fucking answered the offensive coordinating decision that was a failure from a year ago? 1. 2. Is your offense better with or without AJ? Have you created more questions from a year ago? 3. Is Chris Cooper an upgrade over Jeff Stoutland? Very simple, dude. They're not complicated questions. He has. Okay. How has he answered the offensive coordinator position? Reyes, how's he answered it? How has he answered it? My God. Unbelievable. You can be in a room with someone for 5 minutes and know. How's that possible? He hired Mannion? Who's Mannion? You're doing nothing wrong, Sills. It's these Nickites getting upset. They're simple questions, aren't they, Marsh? And Kellen was an experienced coordinator who had answers. That's why he's the head coach in New Orleans. Get this. Like I said, you know what? That's a great idea. I got a great idea. How has Nick Sirianni answered the offensive coordinator position after he fired Kevin Patullo? Nick Sirianni answered the offensive coordinator vacancy by Kevin Patullo, by Sean Mannion taking over the position. In addition, in Mannion, Sirianni heavily values offensive continuity and believes that Sean Mannion can be the guy. Sirianni stated that the removing of Patullo was a highly difficult decision, given their close relationship and all that he has done for the team. Despite the changes, Patullo wasn't entirely removed from the organization, remaining on the staff. So Nick answered it by hiring a no-name guy. Let's use a little bit of AI too here. Is Chris Cooper an upgrade over Jeff Stoutland as an offensive line coach in Philly? No. Chris Cooper is generally not considered an upgrade. Replacing Stoutland is seen as a massive downgrade for the Eagles. This is what Nick is using now, right? It's a massive downgrade. AI's wrong. There you go. AI's wrong. Let's see. Will the Eagles be a better offensive football team? Yeah. Will the Eagles be a better offensive football team without A.J. Brown? No. It'll be a considerably lesser talented wide receiver group. It's considered an Eagles offensive reset. There. Let's use a little AI. This is fucking hilarious. Why not, Marsh? Is Makai Lemon going to be an upgrade at number 2 wideout over Devontae Smith? No. Rookie Makai Lemon is not expected to be an upgrade over Devontae Smith. The Eagles are projecting Smith to step into the number 1 role, and Lemon is slated to be the number 2 wide receiver, but not expected to have the impact that Devontae had his rookie year. Oh, okay. This is fun. This is fun, man. There you go. Seals, can O-line coaches move horizontal to other teams? That eliminates 31 other O-line coaches. Isn't Callahan coaching in Atlanta? Any other coaches? Yeah, I don't know that line. I bet you Jeff Stoutland has a no compete for a year. And I bet you anything that he's still got years on that. You don't want that guy going to New York and playing up there with the Giants. Is Jalen Hurts considered a caboose in the 2024 Eagles Super Bowl season? Who was the star football player on the 2024 Eagles offense that was responsible for the Super Bowl? Running back Saquon Barkley fueled the Eagle offense during the 24 Super Bowl season, carrying the team to a championship. Barkley had a legendary season in Philadelphia. While Barkley was the primary player on the offense, Hurts also was there in a supporting role. This is fucking great. I should have did this shit sooner, man. Thanks, Nick. Fucking Nick's giving me AI. Sills, as fans, we are kept in the dark as to who really makes the important decisions. One thing we do know, how he got caught up in the Cape chain scheme. Can we blame him when 26 fails? No, you blame Nick for the hires. It's probably going to be some close games while getting the offense going. You mean some close games. Is our kicking game going to be better? Supporting role, jockstrap, 4 verts. Oh, this is great. I got to do this again. Hold on. Let's see here. Let me do another one here. Who is considered the face of the Eagles? Howie Roseman, Jalen Hurts, or Nick Sirianni? Is Howie Roseman the face of the Philadelphia Eagles? Yes. General manager and executive vice president Howie Roseman is widely considered the true face of the Philadelphia Eagle franchise. While head coach Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are the on-field leaders, Roseman is the ultimate architect of the team's long-term strategy, salary cap, and roster building. This is great. I get all the answers I need here. Shit, I don't need to have guys covering and beat writers covering the team. Thank you, Nick Sirianni. All I need to do is just open AI, baby. The last play of the 49ers-Eagles game, the 4 verts play, how good of a play is that considered or not a good play? The final play of the 49er-Eagle playoff game, 4 verts, is widely considered a terrible play call. Running 4 deep routes is rarely effective against cover 4 defense, which the 49ers were heavily utilizing at the end of the game. This is too good. I got a co-host. Sirianni handled AJ better than Reed handled T.O. Make Sirianni a better than Reed. All right. I got a question on that. If you had to start a team with these former Eagle head coaches, Nick Sirianni, Dick Vermeil, Andy Reid, or Doug Peterson, Sirianni's not a former, which one of those 4 coaches would you want to have build your football team from the ground up or coach your team from the ground up? Nick, Dick Vermeil, Andy Reid, or Doug Peterson? Who would you pick? Andy. Okay. It's between Vermeil and Reid. Doug. Okay. Reid. Andy. Seals coach Reid has over 44 years of coaching experience, with 27 of them as a head coach. How many years of experience does Mannion have? I'll wait. Like none. Reid by a mile. I like this. Like, this is a fair question. Well, Nick Sirianni's the greatest winningest coach of all time, percentage-wise, in Eagle history. Has 2 NFC championships. What's funny is I'd never pick George Seifert over Bill Walsh. And he's got a better win percentage. Dude, for me, it comes down to Vermeil and Andy. Dick Vermeil and Andy, for me. Dick Vermeil hires the coaches. Dick Vermeil hires the personnel. Dick Vermeil has the strategy. Dick Vermeil ran the whole fucking thing, man. Do you know what the problem that all these other coaches have that Nick doesn't have? What's the biggest problem that Nick doesn't have to address? I think people miss it. Why does Nick not have to answer all these questions that I ask you? Why do you think Nick doesn't have to answer? Did he answer the OC issue of a year ago? Do you really believe Chris Cooper's an upgrade over Jeff Stoutland? And do you really believe your offense is going to be better this offseason? And how you handled A.J. Brown? You know why? He doesn't pick the talent. He doesn't pick the coordinators. He doesn't pick the strategy. All that shit's off the hook. He looks at those guys and says, this is what you want. You don't want Jalen to throw across the middle. So I'm going to develop an offense that what you folks want. They build that offense to what the front office wants. They're doing it now. Front office wants to have a spread offense and open up the offense. That's what Nick's doing. He's taking a knee to that. He knows better that this is not productive to the quarterback. He knows it, but this is what they want. He's playing the office politics. You want it? I'll make it. Actually, this plays to Nick's strength. Nick's a passing coordinator. He's not a run coordinator. He's no more a run coordinator than Kellen Moore was. But now you're under more criticism. This is your passing game. These are your guys that you believe can help the passing game. There's more accountability now. Before there wasn't. Hey, you know the quarterback can't throw across the middle of the field. We don't have a check down game for a reason. He's not comfortable throwing it. We're going to make this run offense, and we're going to kneel behind the offensive line the whole way. Well, now you got to come up with something different because you don't have the same old line. Hey, John, just because a coach goes somewhere, you've got to also talk about environment. Who was their GM there? Trent Baalke? The guy was a stiff. He was a stiff in San Francisco. I mean, and the Jags have not had, but outside of Tom Coughlin's first time, they and a little bit with Doug Marrone, they never had really any continuity. Better question, would Reed be able to take second fiddle to Howie? No, Howie was second fiddle in Philly when Andy Reid was here. And so was Joe Banner. So was Joe Banner. Peterson, just like Sirianni, was carried by great coordinators. Peterson was, dude, Doug Peterson and Frank Wright and a backup quarterback won the Super Bowl. 3 backups won the Super Bowl. Think about that. 2 former backup players and then coordinators, and then a backup quarterback won the Super Bowl. By the way, Rasputin, that 53 Super Bowl, what was the Eagles' defense ranked that year? Just curious. Let me see something here. What was their pass defense? Was the Eagles' defense ranked in 2017? They were 4th overall. They were 3rd in rushing defense, 4th in scoring. Pass defense. And they were 17th in pass defense. And they were 4th in run stopping. That's a pretty good unit. The 24 team's better. Unit is better. That 24 units is a better unit. She says, why didn't you ever bring up Mannion has that Tampa guy in his ear to help out? Yeah, Josh Grizzard. I like him. I don't think he got too much heat in Tampa. I think Todd Bowles was a disaster last year, and I think the Buccaneers really like Todd Bowles. I do. I think they really like him. Despite what you may think, Howie's the best GM in football. I think him and John Schneider are the two best guys right now. No other GM is as feared by other GMs like Howie is. Howie Roseman doesn't have a better resume than John Schneider, or they're compatible with one another. And remember something about Snyder. He's not spending $50 million on a quarterback. Resume speak for itself? Well, here. I'll get to you here in a minute, Kim. Let's take a look at John Schneider's resume. Resume speaks for itself? All right. John Schneider, GM of the Seahawks. Let's take a look at what he's done. John Schneider, executive, was the president in operations and general manager of the Seahawks. Schneider was previously the executive of the Washington Redskins and the Packers in the 2000s. He's the primary architect of the Seahawks rosters that won the Super Bowl. He's been to 3 Super Bowls. He's got 3 NFC championship rings, 2 Super Bowl rings. He's got another ring with the Packers as an executive. He was the executive of the year in 25. I don't know. He's been there since 2010. He went to back-to-back Super Bowls with the Seahawks. They won 1. Just won another one. He's been to 3. Where is his resume better than John Schneider's? They're probably compatible with one another. Where are you saying that? Let's see. Teams that have the best record in football since 2010. What NFL teams have the best record since 2010? Patriots, Chiefs, Packers, Steelers, Seahawks. Chiefs, actually, the last 10 years, Seahawks and Eagles are 101 and 63-1. They're both the same. Talk about being right there. Both guys took over. That's pretty incredible. They got the same fucking record, 101 and 63-1. That's crazy. Also, the only GM that wins multiple Super Bowls with different ownership. Yeah. And different quarterbacks. Well, Howie's done that too, though. And different head coaches. Basically, Negative Nancy's being negative now about everything. Hold on. I asked you these stories that Reuben Frank has said about Nick Sirianni. How do you think his offseason has been? Is that a fair question? How's Howie's offseason been? How has the Eagles addressed their problems from 25? Is negative? Don't you want to get better for the upcoming year? I asked a simple question. Have you answered the offensive coordinating issues of a year ago? Do you believe that Jeff Stoutland is an upgrade? And if you guys come back and say this, yet to be determined, then there's more questions and answers. Are you a better offense? Yet to be determined. More questions than answers. This is what I say every time I have a conversation with people. Has he and does he have answers? What's wrong with that? Well, Mannion is going to be this and Mannion's going to be that. Dude, what are you talking about? Simplest questions. Very simple. Let's see here. I got something here too that's coming up that Adam Schefter is supposedly, for whatever, the Raiders are talking again about Max Crosby. So I don't know. Could there be something heading into the next couple weeks here? I don't know. But supposedly the Raiders are back in that conversation again with that. All right. We are 8 days away. How you doing? By the way, Adam Schefter just did something for me that's pretty dope. Adam Schefter just tweeted out teaching the game. And he's got a picture of it, and he's got a picture of this book. On Adam, look at Adam Schefter's X account. He's got a picture right now of this book. And then I've got this written to me, though, from Mark, which is dope. He's on tomorrow at 4:30. And calls me one of the greatest minds in football. Right there. One of the greatest minds in football. He's doing. He's on tomorrow at 4:30. That's pretty cool. Way to go, Adam Schefter. Teaching the game. This book is a thank you note to coaches and everyone that are out there. Way to go, Adam Schefter. It's my guest tomorrow. And here's my guest now. Without further ado, the man who loves him some Nick Sirianni, Dare Marshall, my guy, and the man I love, Big Z, Zander Krause joins us now. How going, my friend?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
I'm jacked up, man. I'm ready to rock.
Sorry I'm late. I'm on ChatGPT trying to figure out what the Eagles are going to do this year.
No shit, man. I got to tell you, I can't wait to see how this thing's going to play out. And I want to ask Zander Krause some of the most simplest questions that you could possibly ask about your boy, Nick Sirianni. I guess all these stories are going to start popping up, so I thought we'd throw a little bit out there on Nicky Boy. And I'm going to ask, and I'm going to go in chronological order, all of the things that happened to Nick this offseason. And then you tell me if he's created more questions or more answers.
All right.
All right. How do you believe he handled the 49er game?
Nick?
Yeah.
The one that just passed.
2026, the season that just ended here. This started this year in 2026. How do you think that started his offseason? How do you think he performed in that game?
Not the best. I mean, it was.
Would you say that's his worst coach playoff game since he's been a head coach?
I don't know about that. I mean,
okay.
I think more of that was on the players. I mean, Jalen Hurts was 20 of 35 for $168 in the playoff game.
Okay.
I mean, you know, so I don't think it was.
So he gets a pass with you in that game.
No, he doesn't get a pass. But he's a part of a collective.
Okay.
He needs to do a better job, but I'm not going to put it all on Nick. Like,
did he have answers in that game for the team?
Well, did the quarterback have answers?
I'm talking Nick now. I'll get to the quarterback. Do you think Nick had answers for this game?
What do you expect Nick to do?
All right. We'll get back to that.
No, he didn't. I guess the answer would be no.
Okay. Kevin Patullo hire officially was an F after the demotion, correct?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. How do you think he handled the Jeff Stoutland scenario? Do you think that Chris Cooper will be an upgrade, or does it create more questions, or does it create more answers?
More questions.
Okay. The Sean Mannion hire, does that create more questions or answers off of 25?
Incomplete, but more questions because he's never called to play.
A.J. Brown and how that was handled. This is Nick's offseason. These are all things that happened during the offseason here for the Eagles.
Oh, you're leaving Howie out now.
No, I'm talking about Nick here for a second.
I know, but you love to give Howie all the credit. Howie's making some of these moves too.
I was told by John McMullen that all the coaching hires and all that shit is all Nicky.
Well, you just brought up A.J. Brown.
Yeah, here comes A.J. Brown. How do you think he handled A.J. Brown as a coach-player relationship?
I think he did all right. I mean, that was a tough player to please. How did Jalen Hurts handle A.J. Brown?
I'm talking about Nicky.
I know what you're talking, but if you're going to go down a list and read out all the negatives and say, well, how'd the coach
negatives?
No, he did horrible in all of them.
No, wait. Negatives? This is a coach's responsibility on fucking having answers that I constantly ask you about when you always say, how come you shit on Nick? I go, because I would like to see if you answered any questions coming off of a season of a year ago.
Leave out anything positive.
Okay, so wait,
where's 24 in the equation?
Well,
nowhere? Oh, right. No, I forgot. That has nothing to do with Nick Sirianni.
What? Because 24 was 2 years ago. I'm talking about coming off of last year. Has he?
The season was a letdown. So by default, everything right now is a negative.
Well, then let's go simpler then. Has he addressed the problems of the football team that they had a year ago in 25? Yes or no? Or has he created more questions?
He's created more questions.
Okay. Now, name me the positives that you think is in what they've done this offseason with Nick and what Nick has done. Name me a positive.
Well, I don't think that many. I mean, I've been clear about that all offseason.
Okay. All right.
But I also don't think he has as many, opportunities to correct as many things in the offseason as much as Howie does.
I think
Howie's the one who.
I think that saves his job.
Well,
if I'm not accountable for the personnel, and I'm not accountable, that's you, Howie. That's your bullshit. That ain't me.
Yeah, but is the expectation win the Super Bowl every year, or you're going to be tar and feathered?
I think that line is one of the biggest bullshit lines of all time, because Dak just said that stupid shit, and I just said the same thing to Dak. Dak, the Jets have more.
Whoa. Dak's 10 years in the league.
The Jets have more victories in the postseason since 2000 than the Cowboys do.
Man, who the Jets don't have more? You know who the Jets don't have more postseason victories than? The Eagles.
I'm talking about Dak talking about Super Bowl or bust. It's a bullshit comment from him.
All right. Dak can't be compared in this conversation. Nick had more playoff wins in 1 year than Dak has had in his career.
Okay. All right. Again, I'm asking you, have they addressed the problems that they had in 2025?
No.
Okay.
Well, do the Medellin stem cells work?
I don't know.
Well, that might be your answer.
Well, that's a question then.
Well, it absolutely. But do you expect Nick Sirianni to all of a sudden be a surgeon?
No. Okay. I don't know.
So what do you want
I'm
Nick
asking
to do?
Things that Nick had control of.
Nick doesn't have control of AJ.
The hiring of Kevin Patullo was his call.
That was last year. Okay.
The pushing of Stoutland out and putting Cooper in is his call.
I agree with that.
The hiring of Mannion is his call.
I agree with that.
The handling of how he went with A.J. Brown and his dealings with him.
All right. I don't think that's all on Nick.
Okay, so that's a collective maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I'll point back to the National Football Show last year, who talked about the devolving relationship of the quarterback and the wide receiver.
Yes.
So we can't just conveniently put that all on Nick now. I don't think Nick and AJ liked each other very much. But
okay.
I don't think AJ liked Nick very much. I mean, you saw many moments
Yes.
where I think AJ
Buffalo.
rolled his eyes at him, you know,
Buffalo,
stuff like
that
that.
whole thing in the tunnel.
Yeah, I get so.
You think Nick and Jalen have a good relationship?
As good as it can be.
You think it's a Brady Belichick type relationship?
No, not at all.
Where there's respect, but you're not hanging out.
Maybe if you want to comp that part of it, yeah, but not in totality. I mean, maybe that part of it, sure.
Okay, I got another question here for you, brother. So to me, I think there's a lot of questions going into 26.
I can't believe.
You know what Nick's biggest problem is? You know what it is?
You've really become delusional on Nick Sirianni.
No, why? Because I ask simple questions?
I'm perfectly fair on the guy. He's like the 13th best coach in football.
Hold on. The Patullo hiring was awful. The pushing Chris Cooper over Jeff Stoutland. No, even AI that Nick loves now. Hey,
let me ask AI. What do you want? Let me ask AI. Here, I got ChatGPT open. I'm on their newest.
All right. Ask that thing. Is Chris Cooper an upgrade over Jeff Stoutland?
No. Let's ask it this first. Is Nick Sirianni a good NFL head coach? How's that? Let's see what ChatGPT 5.6 Soul says. Is Nick Sirianni a good NFL head coach?
Oh.
It's thinking. It's saying, I'll weigh his full resume, record, playoff results, roster context, and the main criticisms rather than judge him off one season. He says this. Yes, Nick Sirianni is a good NFL head coach, even if he isn't viewed as a schematic mastermind. Through 5 seasons, he's 59-26. He's been to the playoffs in all 5 years. He has 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl win. He has 3 NFC East titles and a 6-4 postseason record. No wonder Nick's using ChatGPT.
He's a good coach. He's just not considered a savant of the fucking coaching profession.
I think it says this though, verdict. Clearly a good coach, probably in the NFL's upper tier, but not necessarily an elite Reed McVay level football architect. That's about what Nick is.
So you would take Nick Sirianni.
Just call me ChatGPT Zander. That's what I've been saying.
Hey, okay, so wait. Oh, hey, I can't wait till you put your game plan to that thing. Here's Nick Sirianni this year. Hey, ChatGPT ZT, can I ask you something here? Do you think my offense is going to work with Sean Mannion? Yes, it will, Nick, because you're the best. Hey, ChatGPT ZT. I mean, boy.
Well, don't you think you're a little tough on Nick considering the statistics I read out? I know they're not the whole story. I understand there's context.
No, because I think coaches with just as good as statistics.
Dude, over that period of time.
Dude, Seifert 10 times better. Seifert's got 2 Super Bowl wins in the first 4 years. 12 and 4 teams. Seifert's record is unbelievable. He was 105-35. This guy won 105 of 140 ball games, and they fired him. Went to 6 NFC championship games.
Wow. So you think Seifert sucks?
I think Seifert was a caboose. You know why? Because when Seifert got to Carolina, he went 1-15. Yeah, I think he's Barry Switzer.
All right. Well, Seifert did have who?
Joe Montana, Steve Young.
And who else?
Jerry Rice.
Steve Young too. I mean, all right.
Yeah. You know who he had too? He had John McVay and he had Carmen Policy. Yeah.
Well,
great GMs.
Do you believe Nick Sirianni has the modern day Joe Montana?
No, absolutely not. No way.
He does have the modern day Joe Montana of GMs though, right?
Oh, he's better than Carmen Policy.
Okay.
Oh yeah. That guy, That guy kills Nick Sirianni too, by the way. Howie
We
Roseman.
are renaming the National Football Show this year to the Howie Roseman Show.
Dude, without Howie Roseman, there is no show.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, Howie's obviously a big part of it, but I just think that I think other people deserve. I think Jalen deserves credit.
He does. He does.
Yeah. I mean, you don't win 60 games with a quarterback that sucks. Now, maybe you've got to be responsible for the trash can offense, but
let me ask you, okay, and do you think you could parachute Patrick Mahomes into any football team and they'd win?
I don't know, because I've never seen Pat without Andy. And Andy is the perfect pair with a guy like Pat. He's like an off-the-cuff type of play caller, willing to, he lets Mahomes and Kelsey freelance. Like McVay and Shanahan, there's no way they would let Travis Kelsey, when he was more in his prime, play that way. No way. So I think Mahomes is obviously an elite talent, but I don't know how he would be without Andy. I think he'd be pretty freaking good, though, yeah. Might be like Josh Allen.
Let's go to this one here. So, Z, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and Devontae Smith. Is that enough to win a Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, the offensive line is the biggest part of that. So if they can play well, I mean, I think you can. If the offensive line doesn't play well, that's where you need Jalen Hurts to then be the MVP caliber quarterback. If they play great, you really need Hurts to go back into game managing mode, right? I mean, because if the O-line's great, you can hand the ball to Saquon Barkley. Let's say you get 5 yards of carry. You can go back to relying on the run game. Don't turn the football over. Keep the chains moving. Let your defense play great ball. Put up 25 points a game, and that's going to be enough to win you 12, 13 ball games. The East, and get back to the playoffs. And that's where, when you get to the playoffs, it's win by any means necessary, just like they did in 24, where they had 2 big running games and they had 2 big passing games.
Well, here, I'll ask it this way. Is this the least amount of talent that the Eagles have had as skilled group guys since 21?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was a 9-8.
Well, I don't know, because we are basing that all on receiver. Well, I guess tight end too. Like Goddard's not the same player now, but I think Saquon is. Yeah, I think yes. The answer to the question is yes.
I think they're better than 21, but
yeah, definitely. I mean,
it's more compatible to 21, right? Remember something, that old line was pretty good in 21.
Yeah,
the
O-line's been good the last decade.
The skilled guys were just the issue, right? Because the
O-line wasn't so bad last year either.
It wasn't. I disagree when people say it was a train wreck. They were 7th. They were not a train wreck last year. They were not. Boy, I look at that group there and I go, Hurts, Barkley, and Devontae Smith. Is that enough to win a Super Bowl? Whew. Man, are you leaning on your defense, boy? Holy shit.
Well, I mean, look at like Seattle last year.
Okay.
That wasn't really, like you've said it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
That really wasn't a world beater offense. They had JSN, who was sick. Darnold had a good year,
no one else except for JSN.
Darnold didn't have.
No, he was. I think he was just at 4.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good year. He didn't have a spectacular year.
Not like the year he had before.
Right. So it depends. I mean, if the team can, like you always say, one thing you always say about the defense that I think, maybe you ought to apply more to the, I mean, included, I'll put me in that as well. Individually, you might get worse, but collectively, can you get better?
Yeah.
Like you always say, do you want Carter or do you want the team, the unit? Can the unit be good enough? Again, last year, they won 11 games, could have won 12 if they played in week 18, and the offense was worse than the league on in 3 and outs. Can they become a regular team in 3 and outs? Can they, do 80% of what they did in the red zone last year? Can you mildly get better on 3rd down? What will that change for your I think collectively the team could get better, but you're right. When you say it like you're saying it, It doesn't sound like a Super Bowl offense.
But I like your point, what you just brought up though with the Seahawks.
Well, dude, that's because but my point is from you.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Your point is being more proven about you don't need an elite quarterback, an elite edge, an elite wide out, whatever the case may be. The most important thing, right, is the collective team. If the team is built properly, I mean, the sky's the limit for anybody, including Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks, by the way, who just swapped out Geno Smith. Remember? I don't think anybody thought the Seahawks were going to the Super Bowl last year.
People were ripping that move.
Right.
You went from that to that because everyone thought he was a pumpkin.
Yeah. Well, he just had lost in the playoffs, but he also won 14 games the year prior. So,
yeah, but you know what? The next year validated that previous year.
Well, and Schneider was thinking about it clearly, just like you were. Everybody's looking at Sam Darnold. All I need him to be is a good player.
Yeah.
I don't need him to be exceptional. I don't need him to be, I need him to manage the game properly, and the unit needs to get better. And that's what happened.
You do realize one of the biggest answers that Nick's going to have at the end of the year is the Stoutland question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Moving off of him.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest red flag.
Right?
I mean, Petula was obviously getting fired. Do you blame Nick that Brian Dable wanted nothing to do with the organization and Mike McDaniel? I don't know. I mean, is that on Jalen? Is it on Nick? I guess you could make an argument McDaniel maybe didn't want to work with Nick Sirianni. You could easily make an argument he didn't want to work with Jalen Hurts. Dable, who it's been reported he's like really close with Nick, and he told him early in the process. That's what John said this morning. He told him early in the process that he wanted that Titans job. So is that about Nick? I don't think so with Dable. I guess McDaniel's more up in the air. I mean, he wouldn't even interview here. He denied flying here. He was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, you know why I think those guys, what they did a disservice to themselves, because you know why? They showed me they're not team players. Brian Dable and Mike McDaniel showed me they're not team players, and I'll tell you why.
Well,
they wanted to go to places that they could throw out the entire playbook instead of doing what Kellen Moore did.
Oh, no, because there's
wait. Kellen Moore had to do this. Well, I can't throw the ball around in Philly, but I've got to win games. So what's more important to you, winning games or making Justin Herbert look and have 5,000 passing yards?
Yeah, but the only pushback I'd give you on that is I agree when you're balancing being a winning organization, you're correct. But remember, these guys it is a career for them. I know we all like fans like to think we just want to win Super Bowls. There's an individual there. And Sills, what has done more for coaches to stay a coach in the league? Like Kellen Moore didn't want to come back to Philly. Okay. He didn't want to run. He won a Super Bowl with it and didn't want to do it again because he said, that's not going to make me a valuable asset in this league.
I don't think your conversation's wrong here, but I will ask you this. If you were going to hire somebody, wouldn't you want to hire a guy who would be adaptable to your roster versus to try to put the square peg in the round hole?
Yeah, you want that.
Okay.
But again, when somebody
maybe those guys weren't willing to do that.
Well, when you have 5 teams calling you, you got options.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't think, hey, Sills, one company wants to hire you to be the Dan Sileo show and do what you want. The other company wants you to, be a sideline reporter and a caboose, and they might have a bigger, more successful organization. I don't know. I think you're balancing there, like the individual a little bit more so, but I understand what you're saying.
Let's do this here. Yeah, because he's going to have to answer for that Stoutland. Because listen, you tell me this all the time, Zander. You go, offensive line is the biggest question mark. So you do that again with another question mark hire?
Well, they interviewed 17 freaking dudes.
I'm talking about the O-line coach. They didn't.
Oh, the O-line coach. Yeah, I mean, how many? There's not that many dudes out there. I mean, there's like a couple O-line great O-line coaches. Yeah.
You hired a dude.
Yeah, definitely. That's without a doubt.
So you hired a dude in the most important. What's more important? What do you have more concerns on coming into this year? The play of the O-line or Jalen?
For the team's success, the O-line. For the individual question of Jalen Hurts' extension and all those things, obviously Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but that
like someone just said, though, I saw it in the chat. I don't know who it was. My bad if I missed you, but they were like, well, Zan, if you want Jalen to just be a game manager again, that's fine, but they're not going to give him $65 million at the end of the year for that. Now, my only pushback to that would be if we're parading down Broad Street next February, well, you know, the briefcase will be at Jalen Hurts' locker. But I guess that's the only way probably to overcome that.
if you go 14-3 and you win the Super Bowl and Hurts is 3,200 passing yards and 20 touchdowns and 7 picks and 65% completion percentage, are you paying him $65 million?
Yeah. So that would be 6-year starter, three NFC titles, 2 Super Bowl wins, 4 NFC East, four NFC East titles, and a 700 winning percentage. I mean, dude, you're
3 14-win seasons.
Yeah, you're not moving off that.
Boy, man. Shoof. Do you think he has to do that to get that deal?
Either that or he has to get back to leaving no doubt in terms of his impact on the team. Like in 22, Sills, I remember you saying, because you were tough on Jalen before he did that, I'm going to tip my cap. That's just a good performance all year. He proved he's going to help you win games. He proved in the Super Bowl he's going to make the throws. I don't think anybody in that offseason, even after a loss in the Super Bowl, was like, can Jalen do it? You know, we felt good. I remember the city was fired up. So I think he has to shed some of the reasonable doubt, because I do think there are many people in here who are Jalen fans, but doubt on Jalen in terms of what he contributes to the team is fair at this point. After the last couple of seasons, it's completely fair. He's got to prove that, you know, I think this year. But if they don't win the Super Bowl, if they win the Super Bowl, obviously, I mean, like I said, briefcase will be in the locker.
Do you think, and why do you think, and you tell me then, Z, because you do give him his kudos. Why is Sirianni so disrespected in Philly?
Because they needed a punching bag. It's Philly. Philly will always have a punching bag. It used to be the quarterback. When I was young,
was Doug Peterson a punching
Donovan
bag?
McNabb couldn't wipe his ass the right way.
Was Doug Peterson a whipping bag?
A punching bag? No, not really. Not really.
Was Chip Chip probably got there at the end, right?
Yeah, Chip was different. I mean, when you trade away a fan base's most beloved players who are dynamic, you know, for no reason, you're going to piss some people off. Remember, and that's a factor with Jalen Hurts, by the way. There's going to have the word I would use with the Jalen Hurts contract, whatever happens, would be tact. The organization will have to use tact with how they handle that, because you're not going to win 12 games this year, get bounced in round 1, not give Jalen an extension, and trade him away without some people pissed.
I know exactly how you handle that. Simplest thing you can do. How did Denver get out of that folk hero in Denver when they got rid of and moved off of Tebow? Who'd they hire?
Yeah, but
they hired Peyton Manning.
That's right. Yeah, and Peyton Manning. Well, so you're saying the answer to that would be to get somebody who
like
makes
Joe
it real quick. Yeah. Well, Howie knows that.
Because you're not replacing him with Jarrett Stidham. You know what I mean? You're not going down that lane. You're not going there going, you know, everyone likes the Mac Jones conversation. You're not fucking going to Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the political nature of it would stop them from going that route. But from a roster building standpoint, based on the way Howie's built rosters, you could argue that's the right way to go. I mean, I don't know. You guys answer me this.
And
by the way,
the reason I said Tebow, because Tebow was like a folk hero,
yeah, I know
not
what you mean.
because of his ability or
I
anything.
know what you mean. But, and this is a tough answer. And by the way, I'll say this before I even say it. I hate playing this game, but what do you guys believe, everybody listening? What do you believe that Howie believes about the 24 Rock team that won the Super Bowl? Do you believe that Howie thinks he could have insert name at quarterback and that team would have been just as successful? Because the team was extremely successful. Jalen deserves a ton of credit for the way he played late in the playoffs. I get all that. Does Howie believe that roster carried the water? If he doesn't, and he thinks Hurts is the reason that they got over the top, that makes it different. But if Howie thinks that, it will change the way he approaches and thinks about moving forward with this quarterback. 100%.
I think he believes that he can replace him.
I think you're probably right, but I also think Howie's been around enough to know that it's not always peaches and cream the way you think it's going to be, and sometimes when you have somebody who has a rare ability, to get you over the top or to have that winning trait, even if some people don't think it's worth much, maybe it is, it all depends on what Howie thinks. Because remember, Howie has had the splashy quarterback. Carson Wentz was the number 2 overall draft pick. He had insane athletic ability. He had insane arm talent. He was supremely talented. He was arguably the most talented quarterback in Philly in the last 25 years. Maybe not because you have Vic and McNabb. There's guys, but you get what I'm saying. He was the guy that many people might covet from an arm talent standpoint, from stuff like that. Well, shit. That dude withered under every bit of pressure the more it came. I mean, he was like a piece of grass under a blowtorch,
His problem, he never evolved.
He never evolved, but he also couldn't handle the inevitable ebbs and flows and trials and tribulations of life in the NFL.
That's right.
So maybe Howie values that a little bit more. I don't know. I think it's all fair, to wonder that. And obviously, I'm not inside the head of Howie Roseman, but I do think it's a tougher discussion than people think. I don't think it's as black and white as some people who think Jalen Hurts sucks or isn't that good, and they're going to move on from him because they don't want to pay him $65. And I also don't think it's as black and white as, well, he's won 60 games, so give him the extension. I think Howie's got a tough decision to figure out what that looks like.
I'm gonna go down this lane here with I'm gonna bring up Nick Saban here. Nick Saban had no problems moving off of Jalen Hurts and putting Tua Tagovailoa in. You know why? Because he had options. And he had options, and his football team performed better winning a national championship because Tua was a better thrower of the football. And Nick had no problem doing that. Nick did that because he has options. NFL teams don't have options where they can move to the second guy, or they would have done that with Hurts. They would have moved to a better guy. When you're in college like that, Nick, this is the thing that failed Nick. Nick couldn't figure out the quarterback thing between Dante Culpepper and Drew Brees. He couldn't figure that out. Well, in college, he doesn't have to figure it out, Zander. He's just going to put the better guy in there. And it was an easy move for him. That move's not that easy in the NFL to do because you're paying them, there's money tied to it, and you have only 53 men compared to 100 roster in college. My point that I'm making here is that when you have a quarterback like Hurts, there's very little options on where you're going, especially when you have a GM like Howie that puts all the pieces around him and makes that quarterback's job easier. Do you know the latitude and the leeway and the runway that quarterback has compared to Josh Allen or Joe Burrow and these other guys? If those guys have 3 picks in a game, that fucking game's over. If Jalen Hurts has no completions in the second half or Jalen has no passing yards in the second half, the Eagles win. I mean, his margin of error is so large in Philly. That's the key thing in that position, and they don't take advantage of that They don't take advantage of the margins you have. You have to have a quarterback that can carry when, hey, my O-line's not playing well.
I agree. And that's to answer, it goes back to what we just talked about a second ago. That is precisely what I think Hurts has to show this year. When things aren't perfect, do you provide the spark that a team needs from an elite quarterback? Because I'm of the belief that, and I think every quarterback that's called elite should be held to this standard. You have to provide a disproportionate level of what's the right word here? Addition to a team to make them that much better, to prove that you're an elite quarterback. If you're just another cog on the team, then that's fine, but don't call yourself elite. Elite players should add elite quarterback specifically should add something to a team that no other player can add, no matter who they are and how good they are.
Let me ask you on those 3 and outs. When Jalen Hurts was feeling that the team was not moving and saw that the team was not getting it done on 3 and outs with Barkley, why didn't he take control of some of the play calling and run himself?
Well, I mean, it's hard to know that answer without being obviously inside the building. I mean, is now Jalen going to be held accountable because he wasn't the best play caller?
But Z, when you're going to pay someone $63
right,
million,
that's part of those elite standards. But
we just got through talking when something's not going right. Hurts has to have answers too, no? Can't just be Nick.
Yeah, he does. I agree. I mean, he has to have answers. I don't know if I would describe it as he needs to have answers in the form of proper play calling. I would more describe it as execution. Like, that's where I want answers from Jalen. When shit's not perfect or when the O-line struggles, dude, you got to make a play. Like, I don't want to see, -1 passing yards and a half of football. Like, I don't care I don't care if they called fucking inside zone 50 straight times. Do something. So I view it as less play calling when it comes to that and more on field contribution. But I get where you're coming from.
How much do you think Hurts?
Not that player though, Sills. There's not that many left like that, dude.
How much do you think Jalen hurt the run game last year by not running the ball?
Yeah, well, the design runs were down, I think, to 1.7 per game, which is the lowest in Hurts' career by a long shot. I think it was down half of what it was the year prior, and they were down that year as well. So you can make an argument it contributed a lot. I also see that Jalen was doing a lot more sliding behind the line of scrimmage and stuff like that last year. Like, is that because he's aging? Is that because he doesn't want to get hit? I don't know what the answer to that is, but
no, they're probably telling him we want you to play another play. Here's listen.
I think they tie in though to the
yeah, I do,
because how many times, like even in 22, I brought up 22, dude. How many times did we watch Jalen?
I know,
not on a designed run, on a 3rd and long, destroy a defense and break their spirit and their soul by killing them after having them dead to rights, and he goes and picks up a 1st down.
When I noticed him starting this shit, and I mentioned it in the first game of the season against New England in 2023, when he started sliding before contact.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, that was that by, the organization telling him? Because one of the big criticisms of Baker Mayfield is that Baker Mayfield doesn't protect himself. Baker wants a $55 million contract. Yeah. Well, son, I'm not giving you a contract if you're running into cement walls and you don't know to stop before you run into the cement wall. And again, some guys know how to do it. Some guys don't know how to do it. I mean,
it's a tough needle to thread with Jalen now, because Baker's a fine example, but Baker's not buttering his bread in the running game the same way Jalen is. So it's like, I get what you're saying. Like, hey, if I'm going to give you 65, I need you to understand how to preserve yourself. But also at the same time, if I'm giving you 65, I need you to be the elite football player that will require you to use your legs. I actually think the latter is more important. I understand what you're saying, but if you're going to, as an organization, commit to a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, that style of play, those physical attributes, you can't legislate that. Or if you're going to try, then why are you paying that player?
Yeah, you're not.
Now that I'm not sure if it is the organization. Maybe it's Jalen, dude. It might. I mean, look, it's easy to criticize Jalen, but I'll ask everybody in the chat once again. If you were making 50 effing million large and you had a chance to extend that window of earning, you would probably be trying to extend that window for sure. All right. You wouldn't be like, I'm going to leave it all out there for my organization. No. And if I get cooked in 1 year, then so be it. No, you're going to be like, I want to play till I'm 34 because this is life-changing money. So I get it, but I don't know what the answer is.
So I got a couple more here for you, and I got to go here with you. The AI era of Sirianni has begun.
Classic.
Yes, sir, baby.
The chat is trying to talk me into purchasing Big Sills a Chat GPT subscription so you can upgrade your trolling level of the Philadelphia Eagle fan base.
Oh, dude. No. Look at this. I got the best way. Watch this. Here, watch this. Was Saquon Barkley the number one reason that the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 24? Hold on here. And this is what it says. Here it is. Ready? Saquon Barkley was arguably the biggest catalyst for the Eagles' historic season. The number one reason they won.
Was Saquon Barkley the biggest reason for the Eagles' Super Bowl win in 2024?
Okay.
One sec. If we're talking Super Bowl LAX after the 2014 season, Saquon has the best case, but it's close. He transformed that offense, forced defenses to load the box, and made everything easier for Jalen Hurts in the pass game. That said, defense turning elite is right there. But if you force one, yeah, I'd lean Saquon.
Hey, this is my new co-host, Chat CBTDED. Yes, sir. Holy shit.
Chat said the defense as well. Chat gave the defense credit as well. Man, this Chat GPT thing, we could have the best offense in all of football this year.
What do you here? I just typed this.
Jimbo, that's the first time I've ever used that thing on Chat GPT.
Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni is utilizing Chat GPT to source fresh motivational sports stories and inject new energy into his team meetings, seeking to keep his core messaging relevant entering his sixth year. Sirianni has used AI tool to gather unique anecdotes such as a story of Anthony Robles to emphasize effort and resilience. Now, I'm sorry.
Lord, he's using it to get more examples of things to share with the players.
Hey, if I've got a coach that's not giving me something from the fucking heart and he's giving me something from some fucking computer somewhere, this dude is who I said he is. He's full of shit. He's not genuine. I want genuine people talking to me. I don't want a fucking computer. Could you imagine Doug Peterson there doing this? Hey, Chat CBT GT, should I run Philly? Fuck no.
Let me ask this now. Okay, chat. Last year in 2025, the Eagles offense absolutely sucked. Is that more on Jalen Hurts or is that more on Nick Sirianni?
Let me take a beat and check. Yeah, if we're talking 2025 as a whole, I lean more on Sirianni and the offensive structure than on Jalen Hurts. The scheme wasn't consistently sharp. Creativity and situational execution weren't good enough, especially with that much talent. Hurts deserves some blame. Timing, pocket management, missing some open looks. But if you're splitting hairs, the bigger share is coaching and offensive direction.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, people are going to use this shit against him now.
Oh, my gosh. That's hilarious. That is great.
You need to play that for John tomorrow.
Oh my goodness, that's
Good.
classic.
This guy.
What else should I ask? You got any other questions you want me to ask this thing?
Yeah. Will the offense be better or worse in 2026 without AJ Brown?
Will the Eagles' offense be better or worse in 2026 without AJ Brown?
Let me take a look. All else equal, worse without AJ Brown. He tilts coverages, wins one-on-ones, and is Hurts' most dependable option when it matters. Without him, more loaded boxes against Saquon and tougher third downs.
This is too good. This is fucking great.
How good does Jalen Hurts have to play in 2026 to earn a $65 million per year contract?
Let me think about that for a second. If Jalen wants to be in that 65 million per year tier, he probably needs a clear top tier season. Think around 4,000 total yards, 35 to 40 total touchdowns, 10 or fewer turnovers, and another deep playoff run. Efficiency and carrying the offense through the air matters most.
8 and 9. Oh my God. Even this thing is validating big cells. Holy shit. Is Chris Cooper an upgrade from Jeff Stoutland?
Hey, chat. Is Chris Cooper, the Eagles' new offensive line coach, an upgrade over Jeff Stoutland, their former offensive line coach?
One moment, let me check that. Okay, so first, small correction, it's Chris Cooper, and Jeff Stoutland's a very tough act to follow. Stoutland has been the gold standard for a long time. Cooper's got experience and pedigree, and early vibes are solid, but calling it an upgrade today, that's a bit premature.
Oh my, is this shit free? This thing must pay.
No, I got paid subscriptions on all of them.
Okay, gee, because this is Elon Musk's open AI thing. Isn't
No,
it?
it's not. That's not Elon Musk.
Oh, okay.
Elon Musk has Grok though. You could probably do the same thing with Grok.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is fabulous. Holy shit. Is Sean Mannion going to be an upgrade at OC over Kevin Patullo?
Hey, chat. Is Sean Mannion going to be an upgrade over Kevin Patullo as the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Let me check on that. Okay, quick summary. Patullo's 2025 offense struggled, and they moved on. Mannion's pitch is a blend tailored to Hurts and the roster. I see upside, but it's his first OC run, so it's too soon to call him an upgrade.
Oh my God. No wonder I didn't even fucking put my topics to that. And every single one of them got answered. Every one of them. Nick Sirianni created more questions than he did answers. As I tell you all the time, that's my biggest criticism about the guy. He's created more questions about 26 than 25. I mean, right?
I have great confidence if the Eagles are using AI this year. They're going to be top of the league.
You think that's Julian Laurie?
Who? No. AI is pretty big right now, Sills. It's pretty surprising.
No. I know. No. I get it. I know. However, you think Vic Fangio is going to put a defensive game plan together with that chick?
No.
Chatbox?
No.
GPCD4? You think he could you see Nick going like this? How do you think I should use Jonathan Grenard, sweetheart?
I'm gonna ask you, hey, GPT, what should I do with this guy Dan Sileo? He's giving me a hard time about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ask this one. Is Dan Sileo a controversial sports talk host? I'd like to hear what he says or she says.
Where is this fucking app?
Yeah. Is Dan Sileo a controversial sports talk host?
Hey, Chad. Is Dan Sileo a controversial sports talk host?
Let me check. Yeah, that's fair. He has a long history of very public controversy. For example, 2012 for referring to.
It's gonna use all the bullshit articles against you. You don't even want to ask it.
I know. She goes like, "Did you see the pause?" Yeah. Yeah.
That is funny. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
all right, well,
my
let's read some
God.
super chats. We got JAKIB coming up.
Hey, man.
Here's Kimberly. A soccer analyst said yesterday, which I totally agree. All the greats in sports, despite winning or losing, are always consistently great. Spot on.
Yeah. Yep. Always great.
Here's Mike Cannon. Sirianni using ChatGPT for play calling is the new Ask Madden button. Yeah, I think it's a little better than that nowadays, though, Mike.
Hey, Zander, all kidding aside, do you think it's a smart move? I mean, you know what?
Yeah, I know how AI works. I mean, LLMs are just, it's basically taking, as much data. And the other thing is, if he's being, I mean, I hope there are people like Julian Lurie who are getting them to be smart. You can feed a language model anything you want to feed it to tailor. So in other words, if you want them to create an offense that is as, built around McVay and Shanahan as possible, you can get rid of all of the other information that might cloud its thinking, give it all of that and say, create the best plays from this that are tailored to a Jalen Hurts skill set. You can get really creative with the stuff. Now, I don't know how much they're using it or not, but that'd be pretty interesting.
Could this phase out OCs?
No, I don't think it would phase out OCs because you need the in the moment thinking. And
that would be the head coach's responsibility.
But it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you hear how quick it answers you.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
It wouldn't surprise me if they start using it on the,
Hey, ask
on the
this.
guidelines.
Can you ask me? Let me ask one more question to that.
Yeah, Fleming.
What would I do? Ask this on this here. What play would you call on 3rd and 8, down 3 points with 2 minutes left?
Chat, what play would you call on 4th down and 10 from the 20-yard line away from the end zone with the game on the line in the playoffs in the NFL?
Okay, so it's the 24th and 10, do or die. I'd probably call a spread set, put your best separator in the slot and run a high-low concept, maybe dagger or Mills. Give yourself a man beater and a zone answer. Make the read simple and fast. Protect first, don't get sacked, and throw past the sticks. Live with your best guy winning.
Fucking A.
I told you this thing is smart, dude.
Fucking A. For on the moment, right there.
Hurts.
Hey, dude. Well, that contradicts everything that they called.
Yeah.
Should have threw it past the sticks into the end zone.
All right, one more super chat.
All right.
2 more. Nick is using Chat CTE for stories on offense. Yeah, I saw that, Fleming. Kimberly says, you missed my last super chat, but this is Sil's new Guma.
All right, Guman. How you doing? That's my Guman.
Here's Rod on the bench. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. This just in, according to sources close to the Eagles brass, states they have interviewed and hired new assistant head coach ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. I wonder what Gary Kopp thinks of this. They're going.
I'm going to get Sileo a on the business card ChatGPT subscription for the show.
Dude, that was an awesome segment.
All right, brother. I'll catch up with you.
I'll see you in the morning there. Make sure you guys check out Birds 365. And again, don't forget tomorrow, Z. We got one of John McMullen's favorite coaches on tomorrow. We got Mark Trestman at 4:30.
Yep. All right, brother. I'll see you.
All right, man. I'll see you tomorrow, man. That's
Okay.
Big Z. All right. I wonder what Gary Cobb thinks of Chat GPT, the new coach in the building with the Philadelphia Eagles. He joins us now from Fox 29. Our friend JAKIB joins us now. How you doing, Big Gary? How's it going?
I'm
my
doing
friend?
great. I'm down here in Atlantic City, with the family, and we got two little grandchildren that down there. Got a little guy. He's going to be an athlete someday, probably, but you got a little guy down there having some fun with them and stuff out here at the shore. But getting ready for what's getting ready to start. It's closing in, so. I know everybody's excited about, what they're going to do this year and how good they are. Of course, all these people down there asking me, going like, look, I'm just chilling out for a few minutes, but, they coming with all the Eagles questions.
How about this, Gary? What's your biggest concern 8 days out from camp?
I guess, let's see, if I think about my biggest concern, it's probably on the offensive side of the ball. It's concerning, the change they made, which is this new offensive coordinator. How is he going to, flow into the system? Are he and Jalen going to be flowing together? How is the running game? Is the running game back? Do we have a running game, with Saquon and that offensive line? Is the offensive line healthy? Last year they weren't. So are they healthy this time around? And but it's definitely on the opposite side of the ball. Defensively, of course, you got the stuff going on with the Jalen Carter, but other than that, I think defensively they've been playing this same system. When you change systems, you know how well you would know. I mean, when you're in a certain system, you get in a flow. You know what to expect. You're 2-3 plays ahead of the other team because you know what you're probably going to be running. You know what they're going to be running, and you study the other team, but you know your defense, and you know the strengths of it, the weaknesses of it. What are teams going to try to do against your defense? So when you've been in the same defense for a while, you're just very comfortable. The Eagles cannot be comfortable in this offense yet because this is new, and they got to get into a flow, and then you really don't have not enough time to think through everything cognitively. Some of it's just got to be sense. You just got a feel for, and I don't want to get too deep, but not everything is cognitive. Some things are, it's on another level where you just kind of get into a flow. Where when you line up against a guy,
Yep.
you got to feel for by his stance.
Gary,
You know what they're getting ready to do.
let me let me go and let me see if I'm getting what you're saying here.
Yeah.
When you're comfortable in a defense, your anticipation is putting you in that position. When you're not sure what the defense is, you're playing with a slow step and you're
Yeah.
behind the play until you get up to being comfortable. That's what's going to happen with this offense. So are you expecting them to get out of the gate a little bumpy and a little slow? Because they really have only had 170 days to put this offense in.
I'm not going to be surprised if they do, because you have to get the information. It's got to get deeper in you than just cognitive up here in the mental. Because somebody could sit as a guy that learned the system that you're in, and they give you the X's and O's and everything. But as a player, as a good player, you know this deeper than just X's and O's. And you know the team you're playing, and you got a feel for what they're going to do against the defense you're playing. You already know. And the guy that is going to be blocking me, I know what he's going to do. I have a feel for the approach. In fact, when I was looking at the tape of the game, during the season, or during the week before the game, I have an idea of what it's going to feel like me going against this guy. And that's the way offensively a good offense is. They have an idea of the way you're going to react. And see, that's what, Jalen Hurts needs. He needs to have a feel for when they come out and they show this certain formation, what is the other team going to do, and what are they going to be trying to take away? They say, okay, if they get in this formation, we think they're going to try to take away this. And so you know that first reaction, and you're already thinking about the counter reaction you're going to make to that. How are you going to attack that? This team hasn't done this in this offense. So you wouldn't be surprised if they're just getting into the flow of that. Now, of course, being pros, they're going to pick it up quicker than younger guys are. But it's still something they got to pick up. And when you're playing the game, you're playing on split seconds. You don't have a lot of time to belabor the decision. You got to be making this decision crisply, quickly, and especially when that comes to Jalen, where when he drops back and they make a certain adjustment on a route, he's got to know, what is that receiver going to do? What is he going to do? Or where should I go with the ball? Maybe it's somewhere else I should go with the ball. And that guy's got to be where he's supposed to be, and you got to be on a flow. And that these things happen quickly. They're split second. They're not even a second. They're split second decisions. And that's what they're going to have to get into. And that's, I like the fact that you got a bunch of pros, though. And they're going to have talked through these things. A lot of times, he already knows what Devontae's going to do. He has an idea of what Dallas Goedert. Guys who know the system, well, and see, and I just made a mistake right there, which they don't know the system. I can't say they know the system. But after talking it through, they're going to make certain adjustments to the system. And that's what you look forward to, because they're pros and they know how they've got to get into a flow in order to be able to move the ball against good defenses. It's got to be split-second decisions. They got to be crisp. That ball's got to be there at the right time. They got to make the adjustment. And I did like the fact that offensively with the offensive line, some of the things that Lane Johnson was saying about the fact that he liked some of the adjustments they're going to be making. Because that's what it is. I mean, it comes down to, you got to be able to make these adjustments, and you got to do it as a team. And Lane was saying how he liked some of the adjustments they're making, like when a guy, let's say, goes inside, or different things when he's blocking and everything. Because I think that they're going to get all right. And then I look at Saquon and the offensive line. They played together for a good while. I think they're going to be fine. But that's what the game is. It's split second, and you do not have a lot of time to make decisions.
Here's Gary. I asked this question. There's some stories coming out now about Nick Sirianni, and I want to get your thoughts about his offseason so far.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest criticism of Nick is I don't think he has a lot of answers. And you tell me if you think he's answered these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's answered the question of hiring Sean Mannion and replacing Kevin Patullo? Do you think it's been an upgrade from Jeff Stoutland to Chris Cooper? And do you really believe that the offense is going to be better without A.J. Brown? Hasn't he created this offseason? Now, the A.J. Brown was more of a collective thing with Howie, the organization. That was more collective. But, I mean, don't you think he's created just as many question marks? With the hiring of the OC, like you just said, I don't know if he's going to be good. I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, you turn around and you hire an offensive line coach that's nowhere in the same room with Jeff Stoutland.
Yeah.
Are the same questions still there from a year ago? And yet we just have to wait and see how this plays out this year.
Well, I definitely think that there are questions, no doubt about it. I don't know that they have as much, of the questions as we do, because it depends on what's going on inside. Now, I know that the offensive line, of course, this, the coach is not going to be out there making plays for these guys. This flow and the offense they're going to be running has been a change. Now, they seem pretty excited about what they're doing. See, and I was saying about Lane Johnson. With some of the adjustments he's got to make and things is a difference in what he's been doing throughout his career. And the guy's had a situation where he's going into the Hall of Fame already. He's already, made that achievement. And so him talking about how he likes what they're going to do, the adjustments going to do, I think they mean something because he's seen what other offensive tackles have been doing around the league, and he likes the adjustment they're going to make, which he thinks is going to help him do his job even better than he has been doing. So we're going to see about that. But that made me feel good about it, the fact that because if I'm going to ask Lane Johnson and he likes the adjustments that they're making, I think that that says something positively because the guy knows what he's doing. And really the Eagles' whole offensive line. Remember, a couple years ago, they were one of the key components is the reason that they got a Super Bowl title. So I really have a lot of respect for all the guys on the offensive line. Now,
Do you
I
think it
hope,
returns? Do you think it returns back to being normal?
do I think what Lane
No,
or
the
what?
whole line, the whole unit.
I hope so. I think so. I just would like to see all of them healthy the way that they need to be, and hopefully that they've had some time, to get all the way back to where they were. They were even talking about it, how they had this off season and really able to put in the work and everything, and what are the type of medical things that needed to be done. I think they're going to be back at full strength, so I'm excited about that, and I think that they know how to work together. These guys know how to communicate when they come to the line of scrimmage. So I think they will pick up this offense, and the new offensive line coach and everything. I think that they will be able to make this adjustment, and if they get the running game going, then the rest I think is pretty much cake
Gary,
because
go ahead, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
because a defense is first going to try to take away that running game. If that running game is potent and they're able to run the ball and everything, it really puts the defense in a tough situation. And that's the way it was a couple years ago. And if they can get back to that, then you're going to have an offense that's tough to stop.
Do you think Nick's a good coach?
Well, I think he's good now. From being around there and seeing Nick and everything, I think he is a good coach. I think the big thing Nick does is he's not a genius when it comes to all the X's and O's and all of that. But the thing I see with Nick, and just from being around the players, seeing his communications with them, he connects with his players. The guys play hard for him. He's able to communicate with them. They believe in him. He believes in them. They got a healthy relationship, which is centered around good football. Going out and doing your job and everything. So I know that these guys do not want to go out on the field and won't go out there on the field where they're going out there and they're not prepared. So I think they're going to be prepared. I know that, for instance, everybody would all the talk about, Jalen Hurts and everything. I mean, say what you want about Jalen Hurts. It's something he's doing right because, he's been to the Super Bowl 2 times and played very well in both of them. And he's carried, he's been the quarterback of this team, which has had a great deal of success. Now, why have they had success? Well, Jalen Hurts is serious about his job, making sure he knows what he's doing. The guys are working together. And so I see them after practice out there working. He might be working with Devontae on a route. And if they don't feel comfortable about the route, they're out there working on that route the week before that game, And, he's serious about his job of doing what he's got to do to win. And he's just about winning. He's not about stats. Some of these guys rate quarterbacks just about stats. Well, a lot of those guys that are making those decisions, see, they never played football. So they can say whatever they want, but the guy has won. Why is he winning? Now, I'm over there a lot, so I can see and make an estimation. Why is this guy winning? Okay, everybody on the team knows that all Jalen cares about is winning. He's not out there just trying to get stats. If he throws the ball 16 times, you don't hear any complaints after the game. You don't hear any of the guys saying, hey, man, Jalen's pissed off because they're not throwing the ball. They're not letting him throw the ball enough. You don't ever hear anything like that around Jalen Hurts. And you know the reason about that? The dude is about winning. He's not about stats. Now, I'll be honest with you. I played. I was kind of interested in my stats, But really, if you want to win, that's not the most important thing. You want to try to find a way to win. The stats will take care of themselves. Now, I will say this about Jalen Hurts. The guy is about winning. That's why all the other guys on the team respect him because he is about winning. He's not about just trying to be the number 1 quarterback in the league because he threw for however many yards. No, if he has to throw the ball in the ground, he throws it into the ground, or he just doesn't take chances and he takes care of the ball. And that's why they have won as much as they have one of the reasons is because Jalen is about winning. And if you look at every level he's played on, he's won. And
Okay.
so,
All right, Gary, but here,
yeah,
if they care so much about that winning, and
yeah,
they're 50-18 over the last 4 years, and they've been to 2 NFC championships and won them and won a Super Bowl,
yeah.
why are they asking him to do something completely different this year than what he's done in his previous 6 years? Don't you have to have respect for what he's accomplished and what he's done with the system that they've implied for him and put in place for him? Now,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, they're coming up and doing this. Well, you know what we're going to now do? Now we're going to have check downs. Now we're going to have middle screens. Now we're going to have him play under center more. More under center. 85% of the time that he's thrown the ball in his career has been out of shotgun. That alone is a massive schematic change. Why are they doing all that then in year 7 of his NFL career, year 6 of his year starting?
Really, they kind of went into some of this when they made that decision to change the offensive coordinator and everything, because this system has been very successful in the NFL. San Francisco, the Rams, Green Bay, 3 teams in the NFC, very good teams, and a lot of people pick those teams, to be knocking on the door. San Francisco, the Rams, Green Bay, these teams are going to be there. Now, they do certain things with the, I was saying about Lane Johnson talking about the running game and blocking the defensive end and all that. He was getting into some of the minutia of it. But I think the thing about the reason that they're making this type of change is because they think it's going to allow them to get better. They did not like the way things ended last year with that team. They do have a lot of outstanding weapons on the team. They have some of the best players in the league on there. And so they think that he's going to be able to make this adjustment. And, Jalen has made adjustments all the time he's been in the league. He's been willing to make adjustments. And see, I think that says something right now, because he's willing to do what it's going to take. And obviously they've had an explanation to him to tell him why they've made this change, how they think that's going to make the offense better and everything. So we're going to all see. But Jalen has had success in this league, making adjustments, making changes. This is going to be different with him playing on the center. It's going to be interesting to see, how much they utilize him and his legs. Are they going? They're going to be involved in that running game. How is Saquon going to flourish in this running game with the adjustments they're going to make? And we're going to all see that. Now, I can't say that I know, because I've seen the practices. They haven't really done a lot from the practices they've had where I can see what they're doing and everything. But we're going to all see that together. But as I said, I can't give the exacts about it, but they're very confident in the offense. This offense has done very well on other teams in the league. They think the Eagles and their talent in the different positions they have with the offensive line, of course, Saquon Barkley, the receivers, they think they're going to flourish in this along with Jalen. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I can't say I know any more than that, but
couple last questions.
They're confident about it.
Couple last questions here.
Yeah.
All right. Under this era here, Nick or Jalen Hurts, who do you give more credit to on the success of the football team in the last 5 years?
Of course, that's very difficult to do because they're tied together and they have worked together, and both of them, of course, have a lot to do with the success this team has had. But, I think the thing I would say is, I think both of them flow together very well, which is everybody's chewed up both of them. They can't do their job. They're mediocre and everything. They're one of the few teams in the game that have been to 2 Super Bowls, and they won one of them. They were in both of those games. They were there knocking on the door. So, as bad as they are, they're doing something right. And so, I like the fact that both of those guys are fighters. And they, I can't say they're perfect, because sometimes after the game I'm going, and I could be yapping about something I didn't like or whatever. But I got to give them credit. They've done everything. They've won. They win. They win. And I know that the team is going to do everything they can to play for both of those guys, both Jalen and for Nick. And so I give them a chance to have a good season there this upcoming season. and we'll see. But you can definitely be critical either one of them. Because Nick, with regards to his hands on the offense, yeah, I haven't liked some of the things. So I've been up there in the press box myself saying, "Dang man, what are you doing? What about?"
Hey,
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 and,
Gary, I
and
got
the
a new
same with
one.
Jalen. But I got to give these guys credit. Both of these guys are fighters, and they're winners. And I think they're going to keep on winning. And they think this adjustment that they're making right now, that it's going to be a good for the betterment. And we're all going to see. If they don't, then everybody's going to be able to get after them.
Well, finally here, I got a
Yeah.
new, Nick is now, we have the new AI. So what's this thing called now that he's like getting motivational speeches from? It's called the chat. What is it?
Oh,
called?
Chat GBT.
Yeah, Chat GBT. And so I started this. This new one here, and I went. Is Nick Sirianni considered a stiff as a head coach in the NFL? Here's what it says here.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni is not typically considered a stiff. Instead, he's widely viewed as the opposite, an energetic, highly emotional culture guy.
Yep.
Which some critics label him more as a cheerleader and a figurehead than he is anything else. So, I mean, are we going to start seeing the Philadelphia Eagles run from Chat GBT CTD? Is this what we're going to be doing on the side?
Hey,
Instead of
no.
this, Gary, four verts. What do you think we
Hey.
should do? Help.
I'll tell you what, though. You're going to have that offensive line that we saw a couple years ago. And number 26 is back there, So I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because they do have fighters on this team. These guys are fighters. They're not going to roll around and start crying and everything. And, Philly's tough to play in. I mean, people let you know that, hey, they didn't like the way last season ended and, they don't bite their tongue and everything. But I tell you what, these guys were going to come in and better tell whoever playing them, they better strap up the helmet real good.
All right, here. I'm going to let you go on this one here. So the little kids now that you have, are they going to be football, baseball, basketball? Are they going to be an Olympian? What are we working on here with these little grandkids of yours?
Well, they really, I like to let them find out what they like, because I think that's the big thing is initially any type of sports or anything they're doing, to find out what they like and try to let them get started in that area. Because a lot of times, working on one thing is going to help them in this other area too, So the big thing is letting them have fun now. You don't want to be pressing them, real young, and but letting them have a good time and let them do what it is they like to do. And then eventually, sometimes, I can see where, hey, now they want to start doing this. One day they wake up, or, they want to go catch the ball with this. Fine. Hey, that's what you want to do. I just want to tell you, and I'm going to teach them how to do it the right way, but you pick what you want to do because it's got to be something that's coming out of them where they really want to do something.
Are they in a community like you and I were where you went into baseball, you did football, you did basketball, track and field? You know where you and I grew up. It's a massive sports community. Are they are they being raised in that kind of area too? That's the way that they're coming up in that type of area. Because I know so many of the people around and everything to be able to get them in a nice, comfortable situation where, they're able to have some fun and learn what they're doing. Try to do stuff the right way. And then, you have the times, hey, come on, hey, you lost today. You got beat on. Let's say they were playing baseball and they got beat in the last inning and maybe he threw the ball a high, whatever. Well, that's the fun because that's where you learn. All of us went through that. Yeah. We go through, and even when you get to the pros, you go through some times when you have some tough games and everything. But that's the fun of it too, because not only do they learn the game, but they grow up inside too, and learn about there's a right way to do things, there's a wrong way to do things, and some people can go out and just yap. No, hey, let your actions do some talking, And so, you talk to them about those type of things. And so, but you want them to have a good time. And that's what I try to make sure they do. They're having a good time and enjoying it and learning a lot of things in the process. That's the fun. And then good old grandpa
or be over here yapping it up and cheering.
That's right. Get them into Clairol. Get them into the Babe Ruth League. Those teams
That's right.
that you and I grew up in.
That's
back
right.
in
That's
the day.
that's it.
Over there at Quebec doing all that.
That's right.
Rob, have a great one. Love talking with you, man. Thank you so
All
much
right.
for spending time for me, man. We'll see you next week. Thank you so
All
much.
right, hey, have a good one. All righty.
You got it. That is Gary Cobb. Oh, yeah. We grew up in a great area. He and I grew up in a spectacular area, man. It was just fabulous. I mean, I loved growing up in Stanford there. So let me see what people are saying. By the way, here, let me ask a couple more here about Nick Sirianni. Let's see here. Let's go here. Hold on here. Is Nick Sirianni considered a clown coach? Sirianni is a highly polarizing figure, frequently labeled a clown by critics, including ESPN's Damian Woody, for his animated sideline outbursts and his tendency to talk trash to opponents. The clown criticism. Is Jalen Hurts a top 20 quarterback? Yes, Hurts is widely considered a top 20 quarterback. Is Jalen Hurts a top 10 quarterback? Jalen Hurts is widely considered to be outside the top 10, somewhere between 12 and 17. Can Jalen Hurts read a defense? No. Struggles reading defenses. How come Jalen Hurts takes so many sacks? Jalen Hurts takes a high number of sacks primarily due to his tendency to hold on to the ball while looking to make plays or waiting for receivers to break open. Is Devontae Smith a better wide receiver than A.J. Brown? Most NFL executives and analysts consider A.J. Brown to be better, more physically dominant of a wide receiver, though Devontae Smith is widely praised as a great route runner and has been elevated to the number one receiver spot in Philadelphia. Is Saquon Barkley out of gas? Saquon Barkley showed signs of decline in his performance. Although he remains a highly respected and valued presence in the league after a historic season. But yes, the workload may have aged him. Damn. Hey, Nick, this is fun. I could just validate every single thing that I've said here, but by going and doing the Nick Sirianni AI route. Hey, oh yeah, that's a good one right there. Is 2026 going to be a bad year for the Eagles? (2026) for the Philadelphia Eagles is shaping up to be more of a highly competitive retooling year rather than a bad one, with odds makers still having the Eagles with 10.5 wins. Key challenges for 26. New play caller. The offensive play caller is adjusting to Sean Mannion, making the fifth time in 5 seasons the team has changed play callers. No A.J. Brown. I mean, come on, man. Shit, I didn't even know this existed until like today, and I'm getting validated. Are you going to turn his back on to the defense? This is going to be a train wreck. Ask of how many wins will the Birds have? How many wins will the Philadelphia Eagles have in 2026? 10. I've got 8. 2 off. Ooh. Yeah, why not? That's what you do when it comes to picking coordinators. This is what Nick does, picking a coordinator. Which one of these things here? This is how Nick picks an offensive coordinator. Who should I pick? Sileo's going to be doing this all. Oh, shit, yeah. Hold on here. I got another one. Is Vic Fangio considered one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL? Yes. Ask ChatGPT, where does Jalen Hurts rank versus top 20? Where does Jalen Hurts rank in the top 25 all-time greatest quarterbacks? '78th. Rank Jalen Hurts as an all-time quarterback using both his rushing touchdowns and his passing touchdowns in his first 6 years. Wow, he's ranked 10th in rushing touchdowns. Wow. Woo! Hold on here. I saw something. Sileo discovering Chat GPT is the worst thing for the Jalenites who watch this show. Is Jalen Hurts a stiff as a passer in the NFL? Jalen Hurts is not widely considered a stiff passer, but he's viewed as a highly specialized one. While he boasts an elite deep ball and can throw it, he generally struggles with anticipation. with anticipation, throwing over the middle of the field and making too quick decisions and rolling out right. This is on the goddamn thing here, man. He's not a stiff, but hey. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Notice the names on the list. 7 of the 3 made the Super Bowl, and only 8 quarterbacks ever made multiple Super Bowls in their first 6 years. Hey, I got, as a matter of fact, I did something here that we could play along here. And I'll ask you a question. How many people look at and think that Super Bowl MVP is important? On how you look at a quarterback in today's NFL. Like when you look at the great quarterbacks in the game today, how important is that for you that Jalen has a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP? Very. Okay. So I wrote down 12 guys who have won Super Bowls. And you tell me. And Yale, you're in here. Joe Theismann's been to 2 Super Bowls and he's won one. And he won an MVP award. You think Hurts is better than Joe Theismann? Let's see what Joe Theismann's done. Let's see what Joe Theismann's career looked like. Different era. It's kind of hard to always do this. But he's been to 2 Super Bowls. So let's take a look at Joe Theismann. Let's see what Theismann. 2-time Pro Bowler, first team All-Pro, NFL MVP. Won the Burt Bell Award in 82 before. Wow. Offensive Player of the Year. Thrown for 25,000 yards, 160 touchdowns, 138, 77 and 47. Obviously, his career was hurt because of the injury that he got with Lawrence Taylor. Ended his career, basically. Retired at 36. Guy went to 2 Super Bowls. Joe Theismann. Hurts better than that guy? I don't think so. How about Jim McMahon? Jim McMahon won a Super Bowl. Let's see Jim McMahon. This goes to the conversation about, like, when we talk about how you guys look at that Super Bowl win. Jim McMahon. Let's take a look at Jim McMahon. College Football Hall of Famer. Hurts will never be a College Football Hall of Famer. And he never was really going to be successful because he couldn't stay healthy. What was his playoff record, though? Yeah, that's what I got to look at. What was McMahon's playoff record? Six and 4. Exactly what Jalen Hurts is. What was Joe Theismann's playoff record? Joe Theismann. 6 and 4. Okay. Here's another quarterback that won a Super Bowl. Phil Simms. And he went to 2. Hal Stedler, obviously, the other guy, but what was Phil Simms' postseason record? Six and 4. Wow. Big theme here. Joe Theismann was 6 and 4. McMahon was 6 and 4. Simms was 6 and 4. Theismann went to 2 Super Bowls. Phil Simms went to 2. McMahon went to 1. Let's see Doug Williams. Doug Williams was in Tampa. 4 and 3. Okay. Jeff Hostetler. I know he went to the playoffs with the Raiders, too. Four and 1. These are all quarterbacks that went to the Super Bowl and won it. Mark Rippon. Playoff record. All these guys have winning records. 5 and 3. Look at this. So, Jim McMahon 6 and 4, won a Super Bowl. Theismann's been to 2, went 6 and 4. Doug Williams is 4 and 3, was a Super Bowl MVP. Doug Williams is 4 and 1. Mark Rippon's 5 and 3 and a Super Bowl MVP. Okay. Let's see what Trent Dilfer's playoff record was. 5-1. Jesus Grammy. These are great records. Brad Johnson. Ford 4. Joe Flacco. Hurts hasn't done anything special. That these other guys haven't. 10-6. Holy shit. And an MVP in the game. He's 10-6. And he's got a Super Bowl MVP, and Flacco's 10-6 in the playoffs. Wow. Holy piss. Nick Foles. 4-2. Every one of these quarterbacks that are not in the Hall of Fame that won Super Bowls have a winning record as playoff football players. I never knew this. Sam Darnold. 3-1. And let's see what Jim Plunkett's record is. 2 Super Bowl victories and a Super Bowl MVP. Jim Plunkett. 8-2. So, to put it in a nutshell, compared to all you guys in here that talk to me about Hurts's postseason, here's 12 quarterbacks that are not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that either went to 2 and their postseason records. Theismann went to 2, won 1, he's 6-4. Jim McMahon went to 1, won it. These guys all won it. 6-4. Sims has been to 2. He's 6-4, was a Super Bowl MVP. Doug Williams, Super Bowl MVP, 4-3. Jeff Hostetler, 4-1. Mark Rippon, MVP, 5-3. Trent Dilfer, 5-1. Brad Johnson, 4-4. Joe Flacco, 10-6, a Super Bowl MVP. Nick Foles, a Super Bowl MVP, 4-2. Sam Darnold, 3-1. Jim Plunkett, 2 Super Bowl wins, an MVP, and he's 8-2. These guys are dudes. These guys are good football players. That's what your guy is. He goes right in that room with those dudes. I'll tell you what, he fits more in that room than he does with Montana and Brady and Mahomes. I'm arming up. If I'm him or hires, let's see here. Those guys' careers are over, though. Jalen got plenty of time. Okay? He does. McNabb had plenty of time, and it went the other way. And he also said right now he's nowhere near it. I just wanted to prove, to show you guys, there's 12 dudes. There's 12 dudes that have won that game. How many won MVPs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the 12 have won MVPs. And they're dudes. Terry's in a unique one. Called his own plays. Had no coordinator ever. And he's smarter than people think. Ripper's nephew was one of pound-for-pound toughest hockey players ever. He beat 6'4", 250-pound tough guys while being half the size. His daughter plays football too, if I'm not mistaken. But Hurts played an NFC dynasty in both Super Bowls. Okay? So did Foles. Seals, Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but Hall of Fame is a reach, not impossible, but will have to be better. Well, I'll tell you what. If he wins another Super Bowl and he gets that conversation, you're not going to not put a guy with multiple Super Bowls. Well, then again, they haven't put Eli in. And Eli's a better quarterback than Jalen. He started the playoff games, genius. Jalen in his Super Bowl history put up historic numbers. I don't think the last Super Bowl was historic. Beat Roger Staubach twice and Fran Tarkington. Incredible. Both those guys, you could make the argument, were way better than Terry. Terry had a better team, though, dude. Minnesota was a great football team and a great defense with purple people eaters. And that offensive line with Ed White and them guys, they were really great. Ron Yeri, that was a really good football team. Well coached with Bud Grant. But that Steeler team was the greatest football team of all time. 4 titles in 6 years. Destroyed everyone. Was in the era of the NFL where you had the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Cowboys, all those good football teams. The entire unit on defense could be considered, it's the greatest defense of all time. Those teams were just insane. All right, let me pay some bills here. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason, and that is because they win. By the way, I got to tell you this, man. This is really dope. We had a guy on the program, and his name is Pete. Pete watches the program, and he said this to us. Get this. Hi, Dan. I took your advice after receiving a low-ball offer settlement. I called Morgan & Morgan this morning, and they want my case. I told them that I called you because we see commercials here on JAKIB, and we wanted to let you know here. And Pete, thank you. You watched the show. He's probably watching the show right now. We can't thank you enough, and that's exactly what we're talking about when you use Morgan & Morgan. They'll defend your family like no other. Do me a favor. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Mm-hmm. Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers, Welcome to the viewfinders, the thrill seekers, and the night owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
This is pretty good here. Niner game humiliated to all. AJ within, Nick helpless, Jalen confused, unlike a Super Bowl MVP. Sills is right. They will miss out more than AJ. Maybe. That's a great take. If Mannion doesn't start mirroring run and pass out of the same formation, then it's going to be a long year for Hurts. He doesn't like being under center. 80% of shotgun Hurts as a play caller. No doubt. 7 years, Hurts ain't stepped up the ladder. Stepped it up. How he not going to finally pay him that money? He's not. I don't believe he is either. With Seahawks players reporting and taking physicals, we're all placed on physically unable to perform list. Probably giving them more time with their season injuries. Dude, when you play as long as you do, the Kansas City Chiefs felt that this last year, 7 years of deep playoff runs. That's why that team was a train wreck. If it hurts the Super Bowl this year, he's guaranteed to be a Hall of Famer, as his accolades are better than Matt Ryan, Eli Manning, etc. Super Bowl wins do matter with quarterbacks, more weight, etc. Well, then, if that's the case, Bill Russell should be considered the greatest NBA player of all time, don't you think? Latinferno. Shouldn't Bill Russell be considered the greatest if championships matter? He's got 11. Michael Jordan and Jabbar have 6. How come he's not talked about being the greatest? And he played against Wilt. How come he's not the best? He's got 5 NBA titles. Okay? 5 NBA titles. Everybody talks about MJ being the greatest player of all time. Shit, he's got 5 less. He's got 5 less titles to Russell. How come he's not considered? I mean, you want to use metrics of championships. All right. Well, if you start using metrics of championships, all right. Ryan Clark is out of what? They fired Ryan Clark. Huh. That's a pretty big move. Sills called it a long time ago with Brady versus Logan Paul. What did I tell you? WrestleMania, baby. That slap in the face. Brady's going into WrestleMania. Hall of Famer. He's lucky to be on the roster next year. I know. Hey, Twiz. I'm with you, man. I'm like, yeah, I don't, we'll see. We shall see. Oh, absolutely. Hey, I've said it and I'll do it again. And what we were talking about with this upcoming season here, a lot of storylines coming out too over the next couple days on Nick. I'm going to be interested to see how Nick handles this year. If he's the great coach, let me say this to you. If Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni answer the bell, they'll go down as one of the best coach here. That's a great one. Let me see something here. Quarterbacks all-time Super Bowl appearances and wins. Okay. Bart Starr and Lombardi. Truly one of the greatest of all time. Shula and Greasy. Not. But 1-2. Noel and Bradshaw. 4. Staubach and Landry. 2. Montana and Walsh. 3. Aikman and Jimmy. 2. Elway and Shanahan. 2. Brady and Belichick. 6. Mahomes and Andy. 3. If I were going to rank the greatest coach and quarterback duo of all time, I would go Walsh and Montana. Belichick and Brady. Noel and Bradshaw. And Starr and Lombardi. And probably Staubach and Landry. Third be my best coach. Yes. Third be my best. Be Walsh, Montana, Belichick, Brady, Noel, Bradshaw, Staubach, or Star Lombardi, and Staubach and Landry would be the best coach quarterback duo. Now, you know what? I'm going to take that last one off and put Andy and Mahomes. Put Andy and Mahomes. Scatterboo's a kid. What's he? A 20 kid is invincible. Most kids do. Beats the SEC team, dances like a blue oyster in the locker room. Yeah, I saw that thing that he did at the Fanatics thing. By the way, we get invited to that thing. I posted a cool letter that I helped that organization a lot. Here, let me show you what I did. So I got a letter and I posted it over on my X account. And I get invited to that. You know, Zander, I should probably do that one year, huh? Here, I'll show you. They call me and ask me to donate some of my memorabilia. Here, I'll show you this. So here, I posted this. Let me see here if I got it. I gave them a piece of memorabilia. It was Pete Dawkins signed football. Here. This is Fanatics. This is a letter that's on my my Twitter. It says, Mr. Sileo, thank you for your generous support of the All In Challenge campaign and the All In Challenge Foundation through Fanatics. We appreciate you very much. Our records indicate that you contributed a Heisman autographed football by Roger Staubach and Pete Dawkins in the honorary coin to help raise funds through the All Challenge campaign. It's just through Fanatics. It's for hungry kids and all this and that. And I think that football raised $25,000. FCC's going after ABC. Ryan Clark was sacrificial lamb. Ryan Clark has been a political activist on ESPN. That's why nobody watches it. It's totally why nobody watches them. Ryan Clark probably said something political on the air, and Disney doesn't value Ryan Clark enough to allow him to do that on the air. No, I'll tell you what's happened. When they didn't air that press conference of Trump, ABC, NBC, CNN, the FCC is going after them. They're going at Trump's FCC is going after them. Here's why. I mean, you can't be a news source and call yourself fair and balanced when you're picking and choosing what you want the American people to hear on what the president says. That's rigging an election. Whether you like it or not, or whether you think the guy's an asshole or not, it's irrelevant. You're using government airwaves. Remember, they don't own it. They lease it. They pay a yearly number to use the airwaves that the federal government gives them. And they get a license for it. And the federal government licensed them, and you pay like annual numbers on how you go about your license. And you think you're going to pick and choose what you're going to say if you call yourself a news source? Good luck. Damn, ESPN let Peter Schrager go. Wow. ESPN's losing a shitload of money. Nobody's watching it. Did they really let Peter Schrager go too? Wow. They just brought him over too. They just brought him over. Good reporting from... I haven't seen him out yet. Wow. Man, ESPN is making huge moves and firing a bunch of... They must be losing a shitload of money for them to be replacing people like this. He had been there for over a decade. Wow. ESPN has parted ways with Ryan Clark in what is the first of several layoffs expected to occur this week. They've been cutting back for a while now. Steve Smith's salary has come from somewhere. I thought it was the NFL Network. Well, now the NFL Network has been absorbed by ESPN. ESPN also got rid of Good Morning Football. That was out of Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Well, that used to be the headquarters of the NFL Network. The NFL Network was there in Mount Laurel. Yeah, I haven't seen anything on Schrager. They're not firing Peter Schrager. No way. Listen, I know Mike North says Bart was better than Unitas. It's bullshit. 47 consecutive passing touchdowns, and he credited the 2-minute drill. It took 52 years to break that consecutive TD record. Yeah, Unitas reinvented the passing game. He did. Johnny Unitas held that record until Tarkington broke it, I think, in the 70s. And he had that record. He played from the 50s on. Unitas changed the passing game. Okay? Stephen A. and Pat McAfee making a killing. Still don't know why Pat is keeping them afloat. He doesn't need them. Twiz, I think Stephen A. Smith is the most overrated guy in TV, but give him his dues. Guy's making $20 million. He's one of the least prepared guys on the planet. And I don't get it. He's a horrible radio guy. Every radio show he's ever had is bombed. And if he's not at Disney, he's really not been protected. Pat McAfee doesn't need ESPN. I think McAfee has done a great job on Game Day. I mean, Game Day's better now. I think Game Day was dying. As Lee was getting older, that thing was getting older, and it was getting rough to watch. Herb Street wasn't elevating it, and those other guys were not getting it better. They just weren't. When Pat got there, it changed Game Day. I love that field goal challenge. I hope they continue it. Oh, it was terrible. Good Morning Football was it was horrible. But got to remember, Kem, people like Jeffrey Lurie, they own the NFL Network. They want it to be horrible. They didn't want controversy. They don't want any of that. Nobody's going to talk trash or nobody's going to question a move on the NFL Network. It was supposed to suck. It was supposed to not say anything. Cooper played for the the Broncos when Vic was head coach. Got to see what he can do. Again, what we said, though, Pickin', one of the things you do at the beginning of the year when you're making all these moves that we pointed out, Nick's been his offseason has been what? He's created more question marks. Chris Cooper, you got to see what he can do. Okay. Why would you get rid of Jeff Stoutland? I'm back, chat. GPT Gold told Zander his buddy Nick is a fucking stiff. I love it. Not quite, but she didn't give him the ringing endorsement that I think people thought. Hey, by the way, hey, Marsh, that thing, man, that thing validated all the shit that I said about the upcoming team. So you're saying Stephen A. Smith is bad on his own show? No. I'm saying that Stephen A. Smith can't do a radio show. And that McAfee is the face of ESPN. His radio shows are terrible. He's never had a radio show make it. I had a guy back in the day by the name of Don Martin who runs Clear Channel and runs Clear Channel Sports. He fucking tried telling me, I'm in the Stephen A. Smith business. You know what I told him? Well, then you're not in business. That thing will be off the air in 18 months. Oh, no. We're getting into business. We're going to syndicate him. And I'm like, that guy sucks. That guy sucks. And he was off in 18 months. ESPN has better off-season news than the NFL. Yeah. And now, get this, Kim. Now that the NFL owns 5% of ESPN. Here, check this out. This thing, I got to thank Nick Sirianni, dude. What percentage of ESPN does the NFL own now? 10%. The NFL owns 10% of ESPN. You think they're going to start talking shit on the NFL? It validated what I said about Nick. I know that. Got to do two of them here. There you go. Thank you, Marsh. Hey, Marsh. Isn't it funny? We asked these simple questions today. The simplest questions. Did you answer your issues of a year ago with OC? No. Have you upgraded your O-line coach? No. And will you be better without AJ in the offense? No. So you've created more question marks. ESPN is in town for the Phillies game tonight. Who are they playing? Breeze broke it in 12 against the Chargers. Funny. Isn't that wild? Played for the Chargers. Love you, Seals, but you can hate it. Still, love you, Seals, but you can hate him all you want. But his show has been number one for years. Facts are facts. Fact check. His radio show has never been number one. Like ever. And here, let's do this. Has First Take's numbers fallen in the last 2 years? How many percentage points has First Take dropped in the last 2 years? It's down 4%. That's not awful, especially in the offseason. That's not awful. I was talking more about his radio show. Mina Kimes, only ESPN person I kind of like. Hopefully she doesn't start doing Dirty Diane. Correction, Shador isn't out at ESPN. Schrader isn't out at ESPN. Clark got fired for a feud he had with Schrager last week. Some say he was belittling Schrager on the air. That's the second time he's done that to Peter Schrager. He did that on the draft, too. He was talking shit to Peter Schrager on the draft, and they got into it was post-draft or something like that, that they got into like a back and forth. And I think Clark said something like, you're making these comments and you've never been in a locker room, you've never played, or some shit like that. Now, I don't go down that lane. I don't think that you have to have played to be able to comment on any sport. I don't believe that. Okay? That's like saying you have to be a legendary player to be able to comment and be a commentary guy, when I don't believe you do either. Just because you played doesn't mean you really know what you're talking about, per se, especially when you're covering a sport like football. The reason for me has always been that, I try to get people on with different opinions, and I always try to get people on who have a different opinion than me. Let's see here. Twiz, I agree with that. I agree with what said about Jalen, but you Nickites think this guy is what he ain't. Nick is a caboose. Deal with it. There's hey, Marsh, all kidding aside, my takeaway with Nick is this. All kidding aside, I don't think he has answers. However, and I think he fell into that 24 season. And I think Steichen saved his ass in 22. Now, you can make the argument Nick made those calls to give up the play calling because he sucked at it to Steichen. Okay? You could go like this. Okay, well, he realized he wasn't good and he gave it to somebody better. Well, that's decision making. I'm not good enough to call plays for Jalen, so I'm going to give it to Shane. That's decision making. The thing at 24, dude, there's no way on the planet they thought Saquon Barkley was going to save the season like that after they changed. Saquon Barkley, at the end of the day, was a free agent sign that nobody saw that coming, that he was going to go and run for 2,700 yards. Nobody saw that coming. It was like, and having a career year like that, nobody saw that coming. Not even Nick and the Eagles. You know how I know that? That same year, you were paying two wideouts, 25 and 32, and the quarterback 50. So you paid all those players that money to turn around and hand the ball off to a guy you gave $8 million to? Give me a break. That must have been one of the hardest pills to swallow for Howie. Looking at his owner going, why are we paying all these guys on the outside when we're not using them? And it's the 29th rated highest passing attack in football. How did you look at your owner knowing you paid that kind of money and you were not utilizing it? Kwame Brown called out Stephen A. saying he was the reason for him not getting paid. Now, I think Shane and Kellen told him to shut the fuck up. Yeah, I don't think so. Not when you're the head coach. It's your ball game. I think he told Jeff Stoutland to shut the fuck up, and I think Jeff Stoutland said, make me. And I think that adversarial relationship at the end is what got Stoutland pushed out the door. Stoutland's ego got in the way. And if an ego gets in the way, well, Nick probably should have fired his ass. Dude, no matter if you think that he's Kotai or if he's Andy Reid, if your head coach is in the building and he's telling you to do something, you got to do it until that guy's fired. It's his ball of wax. That's his fucking game. That's his deal, dude. It's his football team. CMC looks like he just upgraded his engine in the offseason. 49ers run game is going to be a problem with the running back kid from Indiana. I like that kid too. You watch, I'm going to tell you something else. Hey, Hollywood, you watch Mike Evans have 1,200 yards this year. You watch Mike Evans go in and you watch Mike Evans have 1,200 yards. He's going to go in there and he's going to put big numbers up. You watch. I know he's on the other side. He's on his back nine. You watch what that guy does. Stoutland doesn't have an ego for somebody like Nick. And, dude, it's his football team. Marsh, if you're a company owner and you got a person that works for you telling you to go fuck yourself, you're not going to keep that guy employed no matter how talented he is. You're not going to have that because the other employees won't respect you. You can't have one guy in the building going, fuck you, and it's your football team. You have no respect with your players then. And the one thing that Nick is being told that is an important thing to him is him being able to, and I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. Twitch, it's different when your family's pulling strings with police. It's Howie's football team. Dude, it's Nick's football team and Howie's team. It is. Okay, well then Marsh, I'm telling you, Nick Sirianni or somebody's going to have to answer for Stoutland at the end of this year. Remember I said that. Today, okay, Nick's going to have to answer for that. If that offensive line struggles or is average, he's going to have to answer for it. I started to watch Hills because I saw him reading all the comments. When he read mine, I was like, oh, shit. Of course. Of course. Marshall's just a phenomenal supporter of the program, and we appreciate him. And by the way, he totally doesn't agree with me. Caboose. Even the guy that he does the chat stuff even says that Nick's a fucking caboose. Same thing happened after Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs when both Steichen and Gannon took head coaching jobs in February. Again, who's out there of quality available to hire? So you promote from within. You promote from within. Yeah, Nick overvalues his position coaches that he has on his offensive side. You know what's wild? They had to go outside the organization to hire these coaches. They're not developing coaches. They're not developing guys inside the organization. The guys who got head coaching jobs all were hired And Shane Steichen came with Nick. Okay, so probably he's the only one. Just, I appreciate you bringing it every day and having great topics. Plus, also being the only podcast I know who reads and gives his opinion on comments for the first hour of the program. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Kimberly. Zander, put that up. Put that super chat up. Can you put it up for me? Sorry, Kim. Interesting rivals. Messi wouldn't be Messi without Ronaldo. Bird wouldn't be without Magic. And Brady wouldn't be without Manning. Yes. Listen, and Tiger probably wouldn't be if it wasn't for Phil. Yeah. I think Michael Jordan created his own rivalries because he really didn't have anybody. Maybe Karl Malone and Clyde Drexler. Maybe those guys. Maybe those dudes. Boy, Ryan Clark getting canned. Whew. That's a big one. Seals, watch Mac Jones be the starting quarterback in Philly in 27. To run the West Coast offense will make half of what Hurts makes. Could be. But to replace a guy like Hurts, hey, DFW, if you're going to replace Dak Prescott, you're not going to replace Dak Prescott with Julian Saying. If you're going to replace Dak Prescott, you're replacing him with Arch Manning. You feel me? You're not just taking Dak out and putting some dude in there. That's not how that's going to work. Same with Hurts. All right. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason, and it is because they win. With over $30 billion recovered, there is no injury law firm like Morgan & Morgan. Told you about the family in Pennsylvania, $650K. They initially got that money, and then they went after him, and they got $30 million in settlement. Or the family in Florida that was initially offered $350,000, they got $12 million in settlement. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason the Flappy Flaily inflatable tube man dominated the dance-off.
Throw the money in the air. Throw the money in the air. Make it rain, count it up, put it there.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLEX. Eagles.
Mark Trestman tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern time. We're going to talk some offense with him, what Sean Mannion's going to be facing. That'll be tomorrow with one of the greatest minds in NFL history. That's there for you. Hit the like button. We will see you tomorrow going 2 to 6, and we shall catch you on the flip side.